across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Very good afternoon to you. Just gone 4 o'clock. Thank you to Ian Collins. We are live and exclusive for one day only because I'm going off on holiday at 7 o'clock. So enjoy the next 3 hours and then you can just wave me off and think, thank God for that. Right, listen, we talk about everything on this show and as ever, we want your involvement, my dears. I'm going to do this straight away. If you want to ring the show today, Jodie is here. 0344 499 1000. It's the only number you need if you want to make a WhatsApp call, because Ryan's come back from his holiday where it patently wasn't sunny because he doesn't look like any different colour than when he left, but he will make a voice note. Now, last week, Jodie had far more than he's ever had, so he's a little bit angry. So voice note Ryan with, all right, mate, was there no sun on your holiday? 0344 499 1000. Your text, of course, welcome. 8722. Start your message with the word talk. The big news, of course, is that Donald landed in Scotland a couple of days ago at Turnberry, the Elsa course. He owns it. He wanted to play golf. But today, he met the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and we'll strip it down and we'll talk about what he thinks about immigration and wind farms and farmers and almost everything, including Sadiq Khan. But overall, if you were listening to Donald Trump, I would say that his overall view of the English government is this.
They don't know what the they're doing.
Honestly, it is the most that was nearly good enough. I'm going to try it again because I don't care. I think this is what he thinks of the British government.
They don't know what the they're doing.
Anyway, there we go. So it's extraordinary. Like Ian said, you see him yesterday, Ursula von der Leyen, and he's sort of slagging off the European immigration policy. Quite right. Where should we start? Should we start with immigration? He basically told Keir Starmer, if you don't tackle it, you're going to lose the next election to Farage. I mean, he really, really laid it on. My lovely one was the wind farm. We haven't got the wind farm clip at the moment, have we? But he literally said they're crap. And wind is a disaster. Asked if he'd spoken to Sir Keir Starmer, but he says, wind is the most expensive form of energy and it destroys the beauty of your plains and your fields and your waterways. I wanted him to say, drill, baby, drill. He talked about farmers. One of the things we've talked about on Drive, on this talk station in its entirety, right, is this dreadful tax they're going to levy against farmers under the stupid belief that they're all minted when they're not, forgetting they provide our food and forgetting that, you know, they're caretakers of these properties and it's been handed down over generations. He said, I love our farmers and abolished estate tax after being asked about Starmer's thing. He said they're going to lose the farm because of estate taxes. They're land rich and cash poor. I had that too. Sometimes I'm cash rich and land poor. I like it both ways. But as I get older, I prefer the Conservative route. So sticking up about the farmers, putting the boot into wind farms. Let's see what he said to Starmer about immigration. Have a listen. Here we go.
Politics is pretty simple. It's, I assume there's a thing going on between you and Nigel, and it's okay. You know, it's two parties. But generally speaking, the one who cuts taxes the most, the one who gives you the lowest energy prices and the best kind of energy, the one that keeps you out of wars, he's kept you out of wars, but the one that keeps you out of wars, you know, you have a few basics and you can go back 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years, whoever does these things, but low taxes, keep us safe, keep us out of wars, no crime, stop the crime. And in your case, a big immigration component, you know, because I know that your attitude has become strong on immigration, strong on the toughness of immigration. But I think whoever's going to be, I think I won because we had a lousy president, to be honest with you. We had an incompetent president. But I won because I was very strong on immigration.
It's interesting, isn't it? If you're not watching on YouTube, Starmer looks like the naughty schoolboy who's been called to the headmaster's office and he's sat there. He doesn't know what to do. He's pursing his lips because he's thinking, oh, my God, the left-wing part of my party is going to hate this, but if I upset the American president, I'm screwed and I don't play golf and I'm having a really bad day. Now, 0344 499 1000. Love him or loathe him, and I've made the point. I'm not 100%, you know, Donald Trump is understandably brilliant, but wouldn't it be nice in this country right now to have somebody with the cojones who would say, do you know what? what? Rather than talk about it, let's tackle immigration. Rather than screw farmers, let's look after them. Rather than treat this ridiculous belief that, oh, I'll tell you what, we'll lower prices of your energy bills. No, you won't. You've absolutely increased them manyfold, and it's going to get worse because net zero is going to cost billions of pounds that we haven't got to achieve what? As Mike Graham once famously said, and I will quote it on every show, what the bloody hell happens when you get to net zero? Do they go, well done, there's a certificate. What does it provide? Oh, we need to think about the world. We need to think about the people in this country who are really, really, really struggling. So he's had a go at Starmer on several fronts. Then he turns his attention. This is when he wins a gold medal from Talk. Talk about common sense. Listen to what he says about that idiot Sadiq Khan. Here we go.
I'm not a fan of your mayor. Why not? I think he's done a terrible job, the mayor of London. But the nasty person, I think he's done. I think he's
a friend of mine, right?
No, I think he's done a terrible job. But I would certainly visit London. Yeah. Well, I like Nigel. I mean, Nigel, as you know, is a friend of mine. Nigel's done very well. He's a friend of mine.
I mean, honestly, please, can you just, if you get a chance today, just go and watch that on YouTube. He's a friend of mine, says Starmer, thinking, oh, God, Sadiq Khan's going to give me a hard time. And he's sitting there, Donald Trump, with the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, basically saying that the man who wants to take his crown is a friend of his. 0344... Oh, hold on. Sir Sadiq, I'm not calling him that. He's told Donald Trump, diversity makes us stronger, not weaker. Playing that card still. 0344 499 1000. So many people already on text. I'm going to read so. Alison in Billericay. I joined Republicans overseas out of despair yesterday, even though I'm British. Screw Canada. We should become the 51st state. Margaret. But President Trump is brilliant. He addressed everything Starmer hides away from. Did you see Starmer folding his arms? He looked uncomfortable and in embarrassment. It gets worse on a daily basis. Hello to Millwall Mick. Ooh, that's difficult for a Hammers fan to say. Hi, Jez. Have you noticed how quick they have got the Lionesses back and going straight to Downing Street? Pure deflection tactics. Starmer knew he was in for a hard time when Trump today. Trump knows what's really going on. Yeah, big shout out to the Lionesses. Watched that last night. Absolutely fantastic. Does anybody explain to you why Chloe Kelly does that hop, skip and a bleed and jump? It's very effective. Right, we say a very good afternoon to the former government special advisor and a man who I'm still struggling to take out for dinner because I'm very busy and so is he. James Price, good afternoon, dear boy.
How are you, my friend? You well?
Well, I'm better now I've seen Donald Trump tear a second backside off Keir Starmer. It is extraordinary. You must have watched it, open-mouthed as the rest of us. I mean, he literally said, yeah, you need to slash immigration and taxes, otherwise you're going to be beaten by my good friend Nigel Farage. I mean, it looked so uncomfortable, didn't it, for Starmer? So uncomfortable.
It was absolutely wonderful to watch. I hope I'm not being too treasonous to see that it was like a kind of Roman emperor coming to an unruly and poorly governed province to go and tell off the little regional leader that he's put in place there. And look, all he said is nothing controversial about Trump's actual advice. He was basically paraphrasing what Adam Smith said 300 years ago. The only thing you need to run a country well is essentially easy taxes, a bit of law and order, and reasonable and understandable administrative justice.
And that actually, if I can jump in for a reason, that, and I've said this to you before, that's why the Tories lost my vote in the last election, because I was brought up a Tory to believe that it was low taxation, strong borders, strong military, and law and order, and police men and women who actually did that. But the result is that when I heard somebody in the Tory party say, oh, well, you'll get, it's far right and reformer with that, that's not. He's talking. What Donald Trump was talking about was the things that I think millions of people are concerned about, but the left don't, even the centre don't seem to understand or acknowledge that now.
I think that we've just seen a really fast move in the last, I'd say probably 25, 30 years, all precipitated by what Tony Blair did behind the scenes to the power in this country, creating all of the quangos, bolstering the civil service, creating all the regulators, depowering ministers, signing us up to ever more international nonsense, or putting the international nonsense that was getting worse into domestic law. We're talking about the ECHR here. All of that kind of stuff has coagulated together to make it very, very difficult to get what the vast majority of the British public want to see done. And as Trump just said, very simple. And by the way, for Trump, it's a lot harder to do because the Americans fibbed about the tyranny of George III, who is actually obviously a great and wonderful man. And so they've got all these silly checks and balances they've got to take into account when they do politics. We don't have any of that. You can have all the power you need if you win a majority in the House of Commons to basically go and enact whatever it is you want to do. And knowing that is the way that our wonderful Constitution works, Tony Blair forced all of that power out to all these bodies we've been talking about for so many weeks and months now, and it's been impossible to get it back again. And as a result of that, you've seen massive immigration going up, even though people want it to go down. You've seen economic go down, even though people want economic growth to go up, and so on and so on. And so it's just a nice little, what the Americans would call a civics lesson from Trump to, as you say, the unruly schoolboy Starmer.
I mean, he looked so, again, and I didn't speak to you about this last week, but to me, increasingly, and I'm not even being offhand, he looks out of his depth. So I loved the wind farm thing. He basically said they're crap. I mean, I've never been able to understand. Here's my thing. I'm going to play it to you in a tick, but I've never been able to understand about the wind farm thing, right? Help me out. You're an intelligent man. You're not going to create enough electricity or energy from wind farm, despite the fact that you're protesting that this is the right thing to do. So in the end, because you haven't got enough, you're going to have to import it from abroad at more of a cost than the stuff you've got yourself underneath the ground. So because of the Friends of the Earth, I don't know, or somebody else, we're not going to use what is, as he says, liquid gold, Trump. We're going to import it and your bills are still going to go up. That is an absolute joke. I put it on this show 6 months ago. If the people in the local areas where fracking's going to take place want to jump up and down, give them free energy bills for 3 years. I don't know. Use your brain. We're skint to the tune of billions and it's there under the ground. Let's have a listen if you're all right. This is what Donald... It's what he said about wind farms, peeps. Here we go.
Wind is the most expensive form of energy, and it destroys the beauty of your fields and your plains and your waterways. They're the height of a 50-story building. And you can take 1,000 times more energy out of a hole in the ground this big. This big. It's called oil and gas. And you have it there, the North Sea. Because the wind is intermittent, it doesn't work. It's extremely expensive. All the windmills are made in China. They used to be Germany and China. Now they're mostly in China. Wind needs massive subsidy. And you are paying in Scotland and in UK and all over the place where they have massive subsidies to have these ugly monsters all over the place. So I've restricted windmills in the United States.
Honestly, I can't love him anymore. Starmer looked like he was in the middle of a poo. Honestly, I mean, it's just ridiculous. He's right, though, isn't he?
Well, this is the point, isn't it? That this country and Europe, actually, more broadly, and America have all been governed so badly for so long that all of these people are being proven wrong by Donald Trump. Donald Trump is being proven right. He is managing, as a kind of newcomer, really, to politics in the last, decade or so, to have a better understanding of the fundamentals of how the world actually works than any of the political class, which kind of makes sense. The guy's been in business for a long time and understands when you do something like real estate, again, as the Yanks would call it, they understand the kind of fundamentals that, you can't whisk concrete up out of thin air. You have to have the materials to do it. You have to have the manpower to put a building up and all the rest of it. And energy is absolutely no different to this. We have actually been generating now less energy, not in absolute terms, not any other fancy economics language, in absolute terms, than we were about 20, 25 years ago.
Yep.
You cannot have a rich, prosperous country with electricity energy costs like that. And China is about to add the whole amount of energy that America generates on top of what it already generates again, and then is going to do that a few more times. It's doing that with huge amounts of coal as well as all sorts of other things. And they are putting a bit of windmills in there as well, because they've cornered the market in actually building all the bits of kit they need by screwing over the rest of us and stealing intellectual property from Britain and Germany and other places to do it, and then charging us a nose full of it for the pleasure. So they are including wind in there a little bit, as well as solar and all the rest of it. But we need to get serious about this, because the technologies of the future, if we're going to hope to compete, when you go on your ChatGPT or your Grok or something, or even Google and look something up now, you're using huge amounts of energy for the great big data centers that artificial intelligence require. And we are going to get left in the dirt unless we get real on this. The answer, in my humble opinion, is to get real about nuclear energy. It's why the French are so much better than us on this respect only, that they have a huge amount of civil nuclear energy. And just like your idea just now, Jessa, if people don't like having the nuclear plants near them, they basically just get bought off. They get bought off by getting free energy, and then it gets a little bit more expensive as you get further out from the nuclear sites.
I don't understand. I've never understood if we're paying £115 billion a year in interest on money that we can't pay back, and we've got, you know, what I would call real estate under the ground, use it. So Starmer sits there. He's been destroyed in immigration. He says, I think I won the election by tackling not just the boats, but the issues. He's absolutely done him because JP Energy was the big plan. No, wind farms are crap. I loved, on a serious note, what he said about the farmers. He said, I love our farmers and I abolished estate tax because, of course, to Keir Starmer, this dreadful, dreaded tractor tax that I feel really, really strongly about. I've got several friends who are farmers, and this belief that farmers are minted because they've got a £3 million farm. It is handed down by generation to generation. They take 1%, by the way, Jay, 1% of their value, I think, in salary. It's about protecting it. And also, the nincompoop Starmer, they provide our food. How much is it going to cost for the British farmers when they can't to bring that food in? So I loved him. He said, I ended the inheritance tax. He said they're going to lose the farm because of estate taxes. They're land rich and cash poor. I had that too. Sometimes I'm cash rich and land poor. I like it both ways, but as I get older, I like the more conservative route. So basically, in front of Starmer, he said, you're crap on immigration. Your energy policy is a complete joke. The way that you're treating farmers is an absolute disgrace. And then he saved the best for last. What about Sadiq Khan? What did you make about? I love this. Sadiq's come back and said, diversity is our strength.
Yes, well, the same kind of diversity that has led to huge spikes in crimes, specifically in per capita bases by certain cultures and certain civilizations. People, I think it was the Centre for Migration Control today came out with just a jaw-dropping finding, and you can go and look it up, that the vast number per capita of sexual assaults committed by people from Afghanistan and Romania and a few other places. Not all cultures are equal, and if you walk around the streets of London, I'm afraid, you can see that bit very, very clearly.
I got a call because I love the fact that he said, I mean, basically, and then he went, he's my friend. Shut up. Elmer is in Wiltshire. Elmer, you're on Talk Drive. James Price is with me. You got 2 minutes. What you got?
Lovely. Nice to speak to you. I'm actually, you've said all that I want to say, and that handsome guest you've got has said even more. So, you know, but I think we should be able to follow America and put all the illegals out. And if we're not going to put them out, why give them phones and accommodation when our own people are truly in need of those things?
And that's it. So answer me this. I would never be disrespectful and ask your age, but when we say this, and we say this on Talk 24/7, because you know, to me it makes sense. It's not racist. It's not unfair.
No.
It's not being, because we've shown ourselves as a country, Elmer, I think, for years. But right now we're skint, and I believe that when you're skint, you have to look after your own first and foremost, don't you?
Well, I'm 87, and I've seen our country go right down since Churchill.
Oh, apparently he was a racist, according to Keir Starmer.
Yes, he was, but he had a poodle, and I like poodles.
Brilliant. Fantastic. That's Elmer in Wiltshire. James, what do you make of Elmer? The thing is, Elmer, right, she speaks for probably millions of people in this country, but the lefties won't have it, will they? But honestly, everywhere I go, mate, everywhere I go, everybody says the same thing. Thank God people on this station, and others, but on this station are able to be this honest, because, I mean, we seem to care about everybody else and making excuses for the perpetrators of crime and sodding victims. I don't know what's wrong with us. I really don't.
No, I mean, Elmer, if you think Churchill is a racist, you should see the guy he beat in the Second World War, right? And I think it's a great exposition of how far we've fallen, how fast. That in the 2012 Olympic opening ceremony, they had a CGI version of the Winston Churchill statue who moved and waved at the helicopter of the Queen and James Bond's helicopter as they were flying to the stadium. People remember that. And a few years later, you have to put up special boarding and police protections around that same statue of Winston Churchill outside the Houses of Parliament, because our greatest strengths come over there and call him a racist and try and tear the statue down and throw things at it and deface it and scribble graffiti all over it. I think that people need to get a decent sense of our history. It annoys me when people only ever use the Second World War as the only historical thing they know, but even if they only know that, they take the wrong lesson from it, which is this is a great country, one of the greatest countries of all time. I would go so far perhaps just to still say the greatest, who ended slavery, the first civilization in all of history ever to do that, who invented the modern world, who invented the idea of proper democracy, and invented all these other wonderful things, and toleration and looking after the weak, a very Christian idea. We did all these wonderful things, and yet we do nothing now but talk ourselves down and say that we're racist and sexist and all these awful things. Well, look quickly at the Lionesses and what they said. Black and white, they said wonderful things about being proud to be English, about quoting the Bible in one case as well, which is just jaw-droppingly wonderful.
Yep.
Those are the kind of role models. And compare that to this scumbag I saw from a Muslim news website called 5 Pillars, who said, actually, women should stay indoors and shouldn't go and do sports. Not all cultures are equal. Some are better than others.
You're amazing, mate. We love having you on. I'm off for a couple of weeks now, so enjoy yourself. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And we'll see you very soon. But thank you and love to Mrs. Price. He's the top man. James on Talk Drive. 4:22, we're live across the UK. So the Trump thing's going everywhere. He's basically completely schooled Starmer. I mean, he's schooled him on immigration. Wind farms are rubbish. The way you're treating farmers is a disgrace. Your mate Sadiq Khan's is a complete idiot, and you're going to lose to Nigel Farage. We'll talk about migrant hotels. We'll talk about other things as well. Apparently, he'd also like to censor the sorts of things that you text as well. But I think we should concentrate massively today on how Sir Keir Starmer looked like a naughty schoolboy when Headmaster Trump told him off. 0344 499 1000. Talk Drive.
$10K cash for Coldplay.
Play 10K cash for Coldplay with 10 grand in your hand tax-free plus 6 super hot tickets to witness Coldplay's sold-out Music of the Spheres tour from a VIP box at Wembley Stadium on August 22nd.
Tickets, top tunes and 10 grand cash.
Don't panic. Enter to play 10K for Coldplay at talksport.com/win and get ready for the feel-good gig of the summer. 10K for Coldplay is a joint TalkSport limited competition run on TalkSport, Talk and Virgin Radio. See talksport.com for terms and conditions.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
It's Monday afternoon. We're live across the United Kingdom. JK on Drive. 0344 499 1000 is your telephone number. You can text 87222. Hello to, I don't know, Jez. Love him or hate him, Donald Trump knows money. Our politicians don't, especially at Westminster. That's why we end up with people like dreary Starmer. Lisa in Birmingham. Starmer looks like a child sent to the naughty step. I think Trump, in his own fantastic way, gave Starmer the biggest flea in the ear ever. Shazzy, is that right? Starmer getting schooled by Trump has made my bleeding day look like he wanted the ground to open up and swallow him. To be fair, most of the British public wish that too. Well done, Donald. Again, plank of the week is he, Stephen Mitchell. I think Trump has highlighted just what a liar Starmer is. Surely now the Labour backbenchers are feeling so embarrassed by their leader. Soon the Labour Party will become as irrelevant as the Tories are. Now watching the infighting. Now watch the infighting start, says Stephen Cornwall. Jason, quote of the week from Jeremy. Starmer looked like he was having a poo. Priceless. Did I say that? I never remember what I said. Bill, as Trump never mentioned the Conservatives, do you think they will change leader? By Trump mentioning his friend Nigel, I think reform's gone up another couple of points. Thank you, Bill. 87222. Start your message with the word talk. We've got a voice note. Ian on immigration. Go.
I hope there's someone who tells Trump how it is, because Starmer claiming 35,000 people have been deported, and that's slightly masquerading the figures. I hope someone tells Trump exactly how many of them are illegals that have been deported, how many have voluntarily put their hands up, and how many are just normally deported in the normal sense of business, if you like. He's given the impression that he's deported 35,000 illegals. It's complete flim-flam.
Flim-flam, that's my word of the day. We say a very good afternoon to the political editor of the Sun newspaper, a good friend of mine. We love him, Jack Elsom. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jeremy.
I am so up for today because never before have I seen a British Prime Minister look like he was on the naughty step. But I saved my favourite clip for you, J.E. He doesn't think much of the London mayor. This is Donald Trump on Sadiq. Can't have a watch.
I'm not a fan of your mayor. Why not? I think he's done a terrible job, the mayor of London. But a nasty person. I think he's done it. I think he's a friend of mine, right? No, I think he's done a terrible job. But I would certainly visit London, yeah. Well, I like Nigel. I mean, Nigel, as you know, is a friend of mine. Nigel's done very well. He's a friend of mine.
Honestly, Jack, have you ever in your political career seen a British Prime Minister be schooled by an American president in his own country? Starmer looked at even that sort of he's a friend of mine didn't wash. It was unbelievable, wasn't it, man?
I mean, both toe curling and box office in equal measure, yeah. I think is how you would describe it. I mean, Trump, telly man, apprentice star. He knows how to pull the viewers in, no matter what you think of him. Look, I think on the wider points, I do actually think that Trump is being very nice to Starmer. He says that, he's a good friend, that he's doing a good job and the rest of it. However, I don't think that you can take anything away from the pretty pointed advice he dished out to our Prime Minister today in his own country. Slash immigration, cut taxes, get a control of crime. That is how you win elections, and that is the only way. If you want a hope in hell of beating my friend Nigel Farage, as you called him, and that is how you do it. And I think that echoes what most of the public at the moment are thinking. That is being borne out in polls. And Donald Trump on the steps of his clubhouse earlier made some really interesting points. He's not totally, I'm sure, up to speed about what's going on in the UK, but he can see in Europe that the immigration crisis is, in his words, ruining a continent, a magnificent part of the world, as he says it, but which is being very different and feeling very different to what it was 5-10 years ago. And I think, Donald Trump, people have all sorts of opinions about him, but he has got his finger on the electoral pulse. That is why we managed to win 2 elections. He won the last election against all the odds, and he has proved, to be fair, that he has put his money where his mouth is on the border issue. Immigration, illegal immigration, one of the massive defining issues of the last US election. Trump said he'd fix it, and to be fair, border crossings on the southern border are right down.
But why does it? My point is this: you do this for a living, right? And I've sat here every day and said this, and I'll say what you say. There is some things about the orange man baby I don't agree with. But explain this to me. At a time, 2025, when we're heavily in debt, where it seems that our public services are on their backsides, when we seem to have people in this country who are not escaping war-torn countries, are taking advantage of systems that make it easy for them to the detriment of their own people. Why do we not have politicians? And people will say to me, oh, Westminster, why don't we have politicians with the bluster, with the front, with the honesty, with the decency and with the crudeness, if you like, of Donald Trump, who can cut through in one interview in a clubhouse of a golf course in Scotland and address possibly 4 or 5 things, as you said, that the majority of people in this country are going, hold on a minute, we haven't suddenly become thoughtless and heartless, but I can't see a doctor, I can't see a dentist, I've been a farmer all my life, I'm a waspy woman, I'm a veteran, my taxes are going through the roof. I'm a shopkeeper. My shop gets burgled and the police don't turn up. All of these people must be looking at that and going, how can he from another country be that on message and our own politicians can't yet? That, for me, is the point.
Yeah, because he speaks the language of normal people. And yes, he's not incredibly polished, but what's the point in someone who's very polished and robotic and tells you that we're smashing the gangs and we're getting a hold on illegal migration, or people can see that you're doing the exact opposite? And I think that, he might not be the most slick politician in the way he delivers his answers. But I think that people actually appreciate the fact that he's probably speaking from the heart, and he's saying what most people are thinking. And you can have Keir Starmer stand up and say that he's smashing the gangs and he's signing returns deals and deals with other countries, as he did today. But most of the voters in this country can see the numbers. They can see that channel crossings are up 50%. They can see that, hotels are up since the last election in terms of the amount of people in it, and then just sick to death of it. Now, I do think that Keir Starmer has done well to make inroads with Donald Trump. I think many people thought that it would be incredibly awkward for him, and it has been on many areas. Obviously, we've had net zero, wind turbines brought up today. We saw the London mayor, stuff about illegal migration. He has done well to cozy up to the president, but it's pretty remarkable when you see these world leaders, the sort of enormous deference they show to Donald Trump when he comes in, because when he comes into town, he's really the only story that counts. And you often see this with world leaders. It happened to Ursula von der Leyen yesterday, the European Commission president. It's happening to Keir Starmer today. Those press conferences, they're not equal measures. They're not sort of equal billing. It is the Trump show, and everyone else is basically eclipsed by that.
Do you agree with John in Norwich, who says that Keir Starmer looked like he was sitting there having a hemorrhoid attack with no soothing cream? I think that's quite a good description. Jack might laugh.
Very good. Well, he clearly disagrees with a whole host of things which Donald Trump is saying. He clearly sits there in silence while Donald Trump goes on about how he hates wind turbines and how the UK needs to use the resources beneath our feet. He said that Aberdeen was the oil capital of the world. Many people would agree with him. Donald Trump tries to walk a tightrope in not offending the president, but sort of meekly goes, oh, we're going to be moving to clean energy. It's just very awkward for him at the moment because he wants to try and suck up to Donald Trump. And to be fair, I think that he's probably right to get in his good books. America is the most important country in the world in terms of the economy, in terms of its military. But in terms of the awkwardness, it is clearly there and quite palpable that Starmer does not come at things from the same position as Donald Trump. I mean, having said that, to be fair, I do think that it's probably quite a wise thing to say, listen, we don't come from exactly the same worldviews. We've got different political perspectives, but hopefully we can do business.
Very interesting as well, because I didn't get a chance to speak to you about this last week, because I think you did the day before or something, or maybe I'm just forgetful. All that stuff around the Bell Hotel in Epping in Essex has raised its ugly head again today. Labour is facing mounting pressure to shut the Asylum Hotel at the centre of that. Tories joining demands for migrants to be removed. We saw stuff over the weekend. There was something in Diss in Norfolk, Canary Wharf last week. Many people in political circles saying, Jack, this is going to spread across the summer as people identify where these migrant hotels are. And again, I'll make the point, I'm taught nobody is condoning violence, but if you discover that there are men and allegedly attacking young schoolgirls, tensions will run high. We did the whole story about the Essex police chief, or did they bust them in or bust them out or whatever. This story ain't going away, is it? This is going to be around all summer. Do you think that Labour is going to be strong enough to close these migrant hotels? Because, again, he's in a difficult position. I said this before the last election. He tries to curry favour with everybody and ends up upsetting everybody, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, and the public's patience has just totally snapped now, I think. And I think that is what you are seeing outside these migrant hotels. The Bell Hotel in Epping, the Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf, other hotels up and down the country. And it does look like, at the moment, it is snowballing. Now, like you said, no one would condemn any sort of violence whatsoever. And there are, I think, minority of thugs who are undermining the legitimate protests and fears and concerns of many people who are taking to the streets. But I think that people are now just sick to the back teeth of 7 years of broken promises when it comes to migration. You know, we had the first boat crossings in 2018, minister after minister, government after government saying they're going to be stopped. We've had 174,000 cross in that time. Only 4% have actually been removed. We now have 30,000 in hotels. It's more than at the last election. And I think people just think, what planet are these ministers living on, where you keep telling us you're going to get a grip of it, you keep telling us you're going to solve it, but then everything just gets worse. And I think that is why people are taking to the streets. And unless you get serious action to stop the small boats, to get people out of hotels, to stop crime on the streets, then people are going to keep on protesting, as is their right. And I think that it was interesting yesterday, a Labour minister, I think probably for the first time, said, I understand why people are frustrated and people are right to go out and protest if they feel aggrieved. And I think that aggrieved is probably a diplomatic way of putting it, because people are damn right angry.
Of course, and understandably. So let me give you a story, just briefly to finish. And for people who go, oh, all you talk about is, you know, the people who are upset. Bankrupt Birmingham Council that is billion in debt and puts its council tax up on a regular basis. This is a story today, right? Is offering small boat asylum seekers hefty discounts on leisure activities, including, this is true, ladies and gentlemen, swimming, golf and trampolining. The Labour-run authority, which is locked in a bin strike now in its seventh month, so there's rubbish everywhere and rats in the street, is giving migrants up to 25% off through its Passport to Leisure scheme. Migrants, many of whom have crossed the channel by boat before claiming asylum and reaching the UK, can get a fifth off the use of council swimming pools, martial art classes, a subsidised trampolining, golf, gymnastics and football. They can get a free trip to a council wellbeing centre. Jack, you're the political editor of The Sun. I sit and just do this. Are they honestly that stupid that they don't think that people who are on their way home now, having started work at 6 o'clock, or are worried about their energy bill that they can't pay because it's their kid's birthday at the end of the month, do they honestly expect British people to go, oh no, that's fine? We are becoming a laughing stock. And this excuse from the left that, oh, you know, somebody said it to me today, I'm not going to name them. They said, yeah, but these people are coming from war-torn countries. And I went, you mean France, with a tent? I think the British people, and I don't condone anything, but I think the British people, quite rightly, as you said, have had enough, mate. And I don't fear what's going to happen. I want the British people to have a voice, you know, in the correct way. Yeah. But I think it's appalling. Dreadful.
Yeah, you're right. We are a very open and tolerant country. And people that are coming from genuine war zones and need sanctuary, most people in this country are pretty receptive to.
Yep.
What they are not is being a law-abiding, tax-paying resident of this country and having to pay full whack for some of the services which you've just described. As someone that comes here illegally and is already getting a hotel stay, free bed and board, is getting cheaper services than they are. And I think it just sort of is a big slap in the face to people who have put into this country for a long time. And I think that politicians, and I mean, Birmingham Council, clearly just an absolute shambles of a local authority in itself. You know, never mind this, but with the bin strikes and the debt and all the rest of it, clearly they need to do a proper top to bottom overhaul and clear out, or whoever's running their council, because it seems to be utter morons.
They need an enema. They need an enema. Jack Elsom, you're going to miss me for 10 days, aren't you?
Oh, you off? Where are you going?
I can't tell you where I'm going because obviously then I'd have to sack you. But
you're to Barbados.
No, I'm not. That's the point. Thanks, you did. No, just rushing around. But listen, mate, thank you. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, and thank you, as ever. You're doing an amazing job. Jack Elsom, political editor of The Sun. What is it? 20 to 5. This is Talk Drive.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
5 PB in a sec. Peter Blexley. Patricia says, watching Trump was the greatest moment since Starmer got in. Steve says, did you see that stupid idiot with Donald? I've never been to anybody so uncomfortable in my life. He kept butting in when the questions were difficult in case Trump tells the truth. Khan is my friend. So cringeworthy. Loving the show. Ron, brilliant show. I love Trump. Please, Mr. President, can we please be the 51st state? Heather Sewell. Donald Trump speaks the truth about Europe and our country with the migrants. And one thing about Trump is he knows how to deal with the migrants in America without any problems. But the UK politicians are pathetic and useless. Let's go to the phone lines very quickly in Dartford. Norman, you got 2 minutes on Talk Drive. What you got?
Well, watching that interview, it is obvious Trump treats Starmer with total contempt.
Yeah.
He says a couple of nice things that he has to, but there's always a little barb into it, and then he attacks Khan.
That was brilliant,
Khan
wasn't
and
it?
Starmer are quite friendly.
Yeah.
And Starmer puts his hand out.
It's my friend.
Don't go too wild on this. It has no effect on him at all.
Can I ask you a question?
Obvious.
Some people think I'm mad. Do you not think we could do with somebody with the cojones of Donald Trump in this bloody country right now?
We need someone. Well, we need someone like him, without a doubt. I don't know if Nigel Farage is the answer, but I'd give him a chance every day of the week against what we've got.
Good man.
I'm getting on now, and I've never known anything like this lot, Jeremy, ever.
We really appreciate you listening. You're not getting on as much as me. Good man, Norman in Dartford. We say a very good afternoon to the legend that is Peter Blexley. Pete, right, pin back your logos. We're gonna refresh you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've just come in or tuned in or done whatever, Donald Trump's in Scotland. Starmer went, can I come and see you? And he went up and he told him basically, you're crap at the immigration problems. Your energy policy is a disgrace. Wind farms are a joke. You need to drill, baby, drill, because otherwise you're going to go skint. The way you're treating farmers is a disgrace. I had that and I banned taxes and they're all doing well now. And then he said this about Sadiq Khan. Come on, the Donald, go on.
I'm not a fan of your mayor. Why not? I think he's done a terrible job, the mayor of London. But the nasty person, I think he's done. I think he's a friend of mine, right? No, I think he's done a terrible job. But I would certainly visit London. Yeah. Well, I like Nigel. I mean, Nigel, as you know, is a friend of mine. Nigel's done very well. He's a friend of mine.
I mean, PB, he's a friend of mine. Literally, how do you destroy somebody in about 5 seconds?
With such eloquence and determination, because he reiterated it, did the president.
Yeah. And
what a remarkable thing that the President of the United States, who lives many thousands of miles away from London, has a firmer grip on the state of London and the way Khan has trashed it than our Prime Minister does.
So you see, he's a friend of mine. He is desperate. I'll tell you why Starmer is desperate. And I did, to my credit, say this during the election. Lots of other people did as well. But I remember saying every night, his tent is so wide. I remember when he got that Tory MP from Dover, Elphic's wife, she came and joined him. And I remember thinking, you've got Corbyn's lot, you've got her. Your tent is so big to get elected, mate. When you get elected, you're going to spend your entire time running around fighting fires. He looked like he just doesn't look. And Jack said something then, you know, maybe not that eloquent. I would change that. I would say that every politician I know, bar maybe Johnson, but he turned out to be a flop, just doesn't have the... I talk about political antennae the whole time, Pete. You're right. He absolutely has identified the 4 or 5 things that British people are mad about, and none of our politicians will bloody well talk about it.
And he's nailed it. But Starmer, when he's sitting there, his eyes, unblinkingly, I don't know what he's staring into, whether it be space or whatever.
Lord Ali's eyes?
Yeah, they look like they're on stalks. He completely doesn't blink, because I think, quite simply, he's sitting there absolutely terrified of what Donald might say next.
I think he's trying to have a poo. I've said it earlier. I think he's constipated and he's like, oh, what am I going to do? But it is absolutely frightening. And you're right, very much so. And I didn't even realise how clever Donald Trump is. I'm going to respectfully suggest this. When Starmer went, he's my friend, He probably clicked that, and 30 seconds later said, Nigel Farage is my friend. I mean, a lot of people will criticise Donald Trump, but Jack Elsom just made a great point. He sorted out the border problem of immigration in the United States by being firm and strong on it.
Not one illegal immigrant, he said. Not one. And Starmer comes back with his mealy-mouthed retort, which is just hollow, empty and pointless and meaningless, because let me just remind you, we've had over 640 on small boats in the last 5 days. Just throwing that in. Not a record, fortunately, but still an abysmal number. It keeps going on day after day after day, and no one is getting a grip. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Imagine what Donald Trump would do if he were the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
It wouldn't happen. There'd be 3 naval ships. It'd do exactly what I've said. There'd be 3 naval ships in the Channel. There'd be a liner condition. There'd be a crack team of people to process. You would be taken off your boat, put on the big boat. Unless you're 100%, you'd be sent to a detention centre like Alcatraz, alligator Alcatraz. Seriously, I said it the other day, build one on near the Falkland Islands, because the messaging will get through pretty bloody quickly. We are not a soft touch, we are a soft touch. When have we got to go to a break? Because do you want to go to a break now? Don't go anywhere, Bletchley, because coming next we're going to talk about the migrant hotel situation, because this is spreading. And as an ex-copper, I want to take your take on that. Do you see what I did there? 12 minutes to 5. Lovely.
10K cash for Coldplay.
Play 10K cash for Coldplay with 10 grand in your hand tax-free plus 6 super hot tickets to witness Coldplay's sold-out Music of the Spheres tour from a VIP box at Wembley Stadium on August 22nd.
Tickets, top tunes and 10 grand cash.
Don't panic. Enter to play 10K for Coldplay at talksport.com/win and get ready for the feel-good gig of the summer. 10K for Coldplay is a joint TalkSport Limited competition run on TalkSport, Talk and Virgin Radio. See talksport.com for terms and conditions.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Minutes to 5, the legend that is Peter Blexley here. Before we talk about the Migrant Lionesses last night, I was transfixed. And my wife wasn't so much transfixed, but I was, and you were as well. Unbelievable. Great show.
Wonderful. Chloe Kelly, a Queen's Park Rangers supporter, of course.
Is she?
Oh, yes.
What does she mean when she said to all the doubters? Because they sort of froze her out of Man City, didn't they? She had to force a move to Arsenal. Brilliant. What a take. I loved it. I thought it was great. And you made a point that I made, which I was slightly worried about making. 3 or 4 of them saying how proud they are to be English. And the goalkeeper said what?
The wonderful Hannah, she said, we have English blood in us. And she said that down a microphone after the game. Of course, Chloe Kelly then, when she was thanking people and saying how proud she was of her teammates and the staff, said, and I'm proud to be English.
0344 499 1000. The Lionesses, fantastic. Later on, an ex-Lioness star will be on this show. You were with me last week. An amazing moment, really, the Epping story. I noticed today, by the way, that the Essex police chief has asked to see the Home Secretary. Is he sort of getting a strike in before because he seems to have got away with this?
Please don't confuse the Chief Constable, Mr. B.J. Harrington, with the elected Police and Crime Commissioner.
Oh, right, OK.
It's the Police and Crime Commissioner.
He's useless as well, isn't he?
Yvette Cooper. Well,
Hurst.
Well, I wrote a play once upon a time in the run-up to Police and Crime Commissioners becoming a thing. And in it, I kind of sort of, through drama, predicted a lot of what I thought would happen. And sad to say, it's all come to pass.
Well,
we were better off under police authorities.
That's true. The Bell Hotel in Epping had become that focal point. You were on the show last week. It was extraordinary. The chief, B.J. Harrington came out the next day and said, we didn't bust them down, we walked them, we bust them out. We were jumping up and down going, hold on a minute. And I said this to you and I'll say it again. Do you honestly think that if Antifa and Stand Up to Fascism had been protesting quietly, that the police would allow 50 skinheads with Nazi signs on their heads to walk down? No. And that's what there would have been absolutely... What's that phrase when they lock... What's it called?
Kettling.
Kettling, right? But that didn't happen. So I think he's But what's come out of this is his ability to protest, right? And... there are now massive calls for these migrant hotels to be shut down because the Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf, there were problems in Norfolk. They are saying this is going to happen all summer. What are your thoughts, Pete?
And this weekend we've seen protests in Nottingham, for example, and many other places because people do not like them in their communities. One question, though. If they close it down in Epping, where are they going? Some other community, in all likelihood, is probably going to have the blight of 300 or 400 or more of these illegal migrants suddenly parachuted into a hotel somewhere near you. And let me tell you, if it happens at a hotel in my community, I will be going to demonstrate. I will be standing there expressing concerns for the daughters of friends that I know and for children, the community and the such like. We have enough crime as it is. We don't need to import any potential.
What do you say to the people that say that's racist and uncaring?
I don't give a toss. Rewind, have a listen to it. See if I said anything racist. And if I did, report me to the police. Get me charged. Go on in. I dare you.
Do you think, on a serious note, that there will be problems the length and breadth of this country? Do you think the government will listen?
Will be problems? Let me tell you, unfortunately, this country is a tinderbox. This time last year, a little earlier in the year, I said social cohesion is hanging by a thread.
You were with me, I know. I remember it.
Sadly, I was proved right because it's a year's anniversary of the Southport massacre tomorrow, and we all know what happened after that. Once again, I find myself almost repeating myself, but choosing slightly different line to say this country is a tinderbox. I love this country. I don't want to see it burn. I don't want to see rioting on the streets. That's not on. But it's a tinderbox. And what's happened is the moderate mainstream.
Great phrase, moderate mainstream.
You know those people that used to support the police quietly, silently, but it was their default position to be on the police's side, although they'd never shout it from the rooftops. What's happened in recent months and years is that when they've been burgled, had their car stolen, their van broken into, their phone nicked, their bike stolen, or a victim of fraud, no police officer has come. And in years gone by, we used to go out to those crimes. We'd take a scenes of crime officer with us, and we would try. And even if it was unlikely that we would solve that crime, we met the public, we met those victims of crime, they knew we were trying, they appreciated us, hence their default position was to support us. Now, if you're a victim of any of the aforementioned crimes, and you please go online and report it, or you ring up, you'll get asked 2 questions in all likelihood. Number 1, do you know who did it? Excuse me, do I know who did it? If somebody burgled my house and I knew who did it, I'd be round their gaff sticking an axe in their head. I'm not condoning violence, please don't do that. That was just a personal opinion that I am expressing.
But
I
also
never
the second,
violence.
and the second question is, what are your pronouns, right?
Yeah. Second question is, have you got any CCTV? Of course, my house is plastered with CCTV.
Hold on, I've just heard. Hold on, you're in trouble. The censorship police have arrived at News UK quarters. You're in trouble. You're going to be arrested by the censorship police.
Would that be the new elite unit?
Yeah, the new elite unit.
Nothing elite about that unit. It'll be lazy so-and-sos who sit on their backsides looking at a computer screen. They're not out on the streets rolling around on the pavement with robbers and burglars, are they?
Mate, I'm with you. You know that. I'm your biggest fan. To be fair, though, this started with Theresa May. We've said this for flipping months and years. If you take men and women off the streets, you don't get intel. You don't get police officers understanding the community. And I've told that story before.
Yep.
If you're an old lady or an old man who's been burgled, you want the cop around, a couple of cups of tea, change the lock on the back door, make you feel good about yourself, right? All those sorts of things. It's not a computerised sheet. You're so right. I fear that the signal flare from Epping is up in the sky, and I think that. I don't condone violence at all, but even when I see our politicians now, right, there's Donald Trump cutting through the BS nearly, and there's Starmer sitting there trying to placate everybody, but I'm not going to say it to him. I reckon there are a majority of people in this country who have had enough, who have literally are saying, and I said last week, I pay my taxes, I never hand out, I look after my kids, I don't break the law. Why the hell did I behave like that? Because I'm at the back of the queue.
And they're up at the crack of dawn.
Yep.
Driving those vans to work where they're chipping, sparksing, plastering, plumbing, all name of things, where women are doing numerous shifts.
Censorship police have been on again. Dawn's upset by your phrase.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, you better apologise for that as well.
What
you
phrase?
Said up at the crack of dawn. You can't say that either. It's absolutely outrageous.
Right. There are so many people doing multiple shifts. Cleaning, working in supermarkets, all manner of things. People trying to put food on the table, grafting to pay those bills that are going up month after month after month, particularly the food bill. How much does it cost to go to the supermarket these days?
He's going to self-combust before the news at 5. Are you happy I'm going away for 2 weeks, or are you devastated?
Am I sitting in for you?
Yeah, do you want to?
Yeah, I'd love to.
All right, lovely. Peter Blexley on Drive tomorrow from 4. If you want him and not Cardwell, text the show right now, 87222. Start your message with the word talk. PB, thank you so much indeed. Peter Blexley, right, heading towards the news at 5. If you want to be on, they'll take your call. So much to talk about. 0344 419 1000. Text to 87222. News at 5 is next on Talk.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back, hour 2 of Drive for Monday. We're live across the UK. We're sitting here in total awe of Donald Trump, who's completely and utterly schooled Starmer. We'll talk more about it with Benedict Spence in a sec. He's basically said to our Prime Minister, you need to be tougher on immigration, you're going to lose to my friend Nigel Farage. Basically, need to treat farmers better. I did, that's a disgrace. Basically, wind farms, your whole energy thing's a complete pile of rubbish. It's going to increase bills. Wind farms, rubbish. What about the liquid gold you've got beneath your feet? And then he said that Sadiq Khan is a nasty man and I don't really want to meet him. We reckon, as an overview, if you ask Donald Trump, what do you think? What do you think of Labour's government? He'd say this.
They don't know what the they're doing.
I think he's got a point. 0344 419 1000. We head to Dorset. Samantha, you're on Talk Drive. They don't know what the... Anyway, how are you?
Hi.
Hi, yeah, you're through. What's on?
I just wanted to say, I think it was last year that I stayed in a hotel in East London. And when I arrived, I got out, got my case out, and this Irish man said to me, he just laughed and said, you shouldn't be here, love. And I was like, oh, okay. But I soon realised that it was full of illegal immigrants in this hotel. And I couldn't lock my door from the inside, and I was really, really, really worried because the place was crawling with them, and they were drinking, they were smoking, blaring out loud music, and all I could smell was marijuana. So with what I saw, I didn't see many vulnerable, scared people.
It's really interesting. I was having a conversation, I wouldn't say who, today in the building, and this person said to me, yes, but they're coming from war-torn countries. No, they're coming from France. I don't care what anybody says to me. I don't care how I get labelled. The truth of the matter is, surely, Sam, that we have always done the right thing, and I'm all for that, right? But we're skint. We can't afford the interest on the debts we've got. So why are we laying open our public services to all these people? And this is my point, whilst our own people are missing out. And as I keep saying, if you in your head were thinking, I've lived my life correctly, I've paid taxes, I haven't broken the law, I've brought my kids up, I've never had a handout, I just quite like a doctor's appointment. No, you can't have one, but somebody who shouldn't be here gets one within 24 hours. It doesn't make sense. If you weren't watching, thank you, Sam, if you weren't watching earlier or listening, Donald Trump has literally schooled Starmer. This is what, I wish you could watch it on YouTube, because he looks like he looks constipated to me. He looks like a naughty schoolboy. This is what Trump said to Starmer about immigration and tax. Have a listen.
Politics is pretty simple. It's, I assume there's a thing going on between you and Nigel, and it's okay. You know, it's two parties. But generally speaking, the one who cuts taxes the most, the one who gives you the lowest energy prices and the best kind of energy, the one that keeps you out of wars, he's kept you out of wars, but the one that keeps you out of wars, you know, you have a few basics, and you can go back 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years, whoever does these things, but low taxes, keep us safe, keep us out of wars, no crime, stop the crime, and in your case, a big immigration component, you know, because I know that your attitude has become strong on immigration, strong on the toughness of immigration, but I think whoever's going to be, I think I won because we had a lousy president, to be honest with you. We had an incompetent president, but I won because I was very strong on immigration.
So we spent an hour talking about how he absolutely schooled Starmer. Here's a thought, by the way, for everybody. He schooled Starmer, not a mention of the Tory party. So irrelevant to the Tories now that Donald doesn't even mention them. So if you are tuning in, you just waking. This is the reality. He basically said, you're not strong enough in immigration, your tax is too high, and you're going to lose to my friend Nigel. You treat farmers in the worst possible way. I ban that tax in America because I don't, you know, I want to look after the thing. Your obsession with wind is useless, it's crap, it doesn't work, you need to drill. And Sadiq Khan is an absolute head. 0344 419 1000, text to 87222. We say a very good afternoon. Very happy to have him on the show as well. Conservative commentator, Lord of the Manor, Lord Benedict of Spencedom. Good afternoon, sir.
How are we? How are we all?
Oh, mate, I just have had the best afternoon. Honestly, and he's my friend. He's not, you idiot. I mean, honestly, to be fair, Blexley made a really good point. Jack made the same point. Love him or loathe him, I suspect a majority of British people, if they get past the Donald Trump's whatever he is, would say the same as this. How is he able, in an hour, to talk about the 4 or 5 things that are central to the thinking of a majority of British people that our own politicians seem incapable of addressing?
Well, for a start, he's able to do it because there are absolutely no consequences to him. He's obviously from a different country. But, you know, it's slightly unfortunate for Sir Keir Starmer that he is so brazen in his opinions and that he speaks the same language as us, so he knows exactly what's going on. He can see it all, what's going on social media, even though it turns out we can't, hilariously.
Yes, more of that coming up, yeah. Yeah,
I mean, the thing is, that sort of brash, realistic talk is one of the reasons why he was elected in the first place and then re-elected again, because actually many of the concerns that British voters have are shared by American voters, which is that their political class simply isn't honest with them, doesn't say it like it is, isn't prepared to grab the nettle, so to speak, wants to avoid dealing with problems or pretend that they're not there. And, you know, as you say, like him or loathe them, at the very least, Donald Trump does at least acknowledge when there are things that need to be spoken about, which I think, frankly, Sir Keir Starmer could learn a thing or two from him about that.
Think about the border thing. Well, say what you want about ICE. There's no illegals coming into America now. We're another 640 yesterday. I think it's quite interesting. I was quite taken with the energy thing. But basically, wins the disaster, basically. So the man that's sitting 2 feet to my right, everything to do with his GB energy is a complete flop. Surely you win elections by lowering people's energy bills. Oops, there you go. Just schooled. But even you used the word brash. I would say honest and direct.
Well, it's that directness that I think in the Anglosphere we're simply not used to. I mean, actually, even if we're honest, even Farage isn't anywhere near as direct as Trump is, because he ultimately, I think, fears something of a backlash that you get from the sort of the Harridan left, which sort of shouts and screams at you whenever you say anything that is considered ever so slightly politically incorrect, whether or not it is true. That would be a major criticism I have of Farage and of Reform, is that even they are slightly sort of hesitant about that, whereas Trump... He's been elected. He's been re-elected. There are absolutely no consequences for him saying things that are true.
But he did that during the election campaign. And my question to you is this. You can call it brash. You can say the consequences. Do you think we'll ever have a politician who doesn't give a toss about the consequences, believes so fervently in what he or she is saying that they will take all the criticism aimed at them and prove to the British people that what they believe that needs to be done is what needs to be done? That's how I see it. I'm being straight with you.
Yeah, it will happen. I don't think that politician is currently a known entity. Yeah. I don't think that it's anybody that you and I have ever heard of yet. But at some point, put it this way, countries can only sort of endure so much stagnation, so much humiliation before ultimately they decide they've had enough. You're going to see it in this country at some point. You're going to see it in Europe at some point. But for the time being, we are still just sort of not quite able to get over that threshold. And it's always been a thing, you know, I'll use that word again, brash. It's always been something that Europeans, and I'd include us in that, have always slightly looked down at Americans about, is that there is that slight brashness, whether it comes to boasting, whether it comes to a sort of a superiority complex. That has always existed there in a way that it hasn't happened here. We are downstream of that culture, though, now. It's not the other way around like it used to be. It's going to happen at some point. It has to.
Yep. Just very quickly, I mean, you must have... I've got to do it again. Well, I'm not going to play it again. I'm not playing it again. Sadiq Khan. I mean, he's come back and said that he welcomes Donald Trump to London so he can see how diversity creates success. Nasty man, that mayor of yours. Bloody brilliant. Brilliant.
Again, it's the absolute taking of no prisoners, is it? He's prepared to say things that in Britain, even his adversaries might go, oh, that's a little rude, mustn't do that. Absolutely none of that at all from Donald Trump. And he does say what an awful lot of people think, ultimately. And one thing I would actually say in Sadiq Khan's defense, he has a little bit of that needle in him that Trump has, in a way that Starmer certainly doesn't. You know, Starmer would never be that vociferously nasty, whereas, you know, Sadiq Khan is prepared to be nasty to his political opponents in a way that lots of politicians in this country just aren't. Ultimately, it's one of the reasons he has succeeded. Now, does he have...
Has he succeeded, though, really? No. 1 million people out of 12 million voted for him. I'd want to sort knife crime rather than make sure that everybody's got 100 pronouns, mate. I think that's why people get hacked off. I want to bring it on to some of you touched upon two really important issues. You were with me last week when we were talking about the Bell Hotel in Epping. few areas, hot areas, sort of a signal flare, I described it as. Ministers privately saying they're worried about a summer of riots. I absolutely don't condone any form of violence, but what you said as well, there is a point where the British people are going, hold on a second, we're 18th in the queue, we're not taking this anymore. How do the government deal with this? Because big mountain pressure, they say, to shut these asylum hotels. Where do these people go? If you had an asylum centre where it was actually quite hard and wasn't such luxurious, ornate and wonderful to be in, there'd be less people coming here. I've said this for months and months and months. What are they going to do? Move them into private accommodation? Screw the rental market? What's going to happen?
I posed this question on Twitter a couple of days ago, and it's entirely possible that nobody's seen it because it's been censored. But I'll say it again anyway, which is that there are several different options, one of which, as you've just touched upon there, is building specialised detention centres, which is not going to happen because, again, British politicians are scared. They are scared that if they build special detention centres, A, The Guardian will say that they are concentration camps.
Who gives a toss about The Guardian? Why are politicians worried about The Guardian? 100,000 people read it, maximum.
Politicians. This is the same class of people that have run this country the last 20 or 30 years. They care about what people in their immediate circle think.
Well, you're not going to achieve anything as a politician if you're only interested in what people in your inner circle are. You worried about upsetting people? You're not going to achieve anything, are you? God alive.
You and I know that. You and I know that, but they don't. They care about what their immediate circle thinks. They still live a completely rarefied existence. They don't know that people in the country are as furious as they are.
They don't know or they don't want to know. You'd have to be living in cloud cuckoo land not to know.
I think they are still wedded to the idea that what is going on, that these protests are not organic, spontaneous acts of demonstration by people worried about the safety of their women and children. I think they genuinely think that these are artificially created far-right rallies, and I bet if you were to ask them, is this caused by Russian bot farms? They'd probably go, oh yes, absolutely, Russia has a role to play. They would absolutely believe this sort of thing. They are too far through the looking glass to believe anything else, and that's why I say, ultimately, the politician that speaks the truth in this country doesn't exist yet, because there is no way you can get this class of people to give up on a worldview that they have completely...
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I think there's far more common sense in this country. Let me tell you, I'll tell you and I'll tell the viewers, this is interesting. Be really well. Tune in tonight. Kev's here at 7 o'clock. Isabel Oakeshott. And tonight there's a talk exclusive. This will be amazing. They're going to show you shocking footage. And for all the people who go, oh, come on, Jez, you're being unfair. Shocking footage of the luxurious lifestyle inside migrant hotels. Things that Brits could only dream of. Designer clothes, people, yes, if you're struggling, sitting in a traffic jam right now. PlayStations. These are all taxpayer-funded asylum schemes, honestly. £5.8 million a day it's costing us as a country. We're giving out extraordinary privileges. It's shocking. It's unbelievable. It's wrong. It's with Kev O'Sullivan tonight and Isabel Oakeshott from 7 on Talk. Can I talk about something that you just touched upon a couple of times? There's going to be an elite force to crack down on people writing horrible things like you on X. Starmer... has been accused of an obsession with censorship. An elite team of police officers will monitor social media posts to quell riots. Let's not get on the street or deal with any crime or stop people, you know, let's encourage people to meet up. But no, let's just sit in a room and work out who's saying nasty things. What's wrong with... I can't do this anymore. I'm going to have to go and live somewhere else. It's ridiculous.
I'm going to have to advertise my postal address. Otherwise, how am I going to get into fights with people anymore if my social media has been clamped down?
Imagine the old days. We used to have to send a carrier pigeon, you old git. Come on.
Absolutely.
I mean, is it true?
Had a man for that.
Explain to me again, because I sound like an idiot. The Prime Minister's country thinks that if people send things online, that's worse than if you get a machete out and go into somebody's corner shop and nick their goods, yeah? Or something like that,
of course.
Yeah?
Of course.
How?
Again,
How?
their worldview stems from the idea that it is feelings and that it is emotions that actually are upstream of violence happening. And if you deal with that, you'll nip the violence in the bud and it won't ever happen. That is genuinely how these people think. So they think that they are justified in clamping down on online content because they think if they just do it enough, then all the nasty far-right protesters, they'll just disappear and all of those problems, that just won't be a thing anymore. And this is, I think this was actually something that was touched upon in the FT, of all places, a couple of weeks ago, which is just that there's this perception from a lot of Western politicians outside of the United States, it must be said, that this is just a blip, that this isn't the normality, that this is just an irregular thing, and that in time we'll go back to the sort of the Tony Blair era, the sort of the circa 2012 Olympic opening ceremony. Everybody's nice and liberal and everything sorts of gets on, and you've got standard growth of 2%. It'll all magically come back. I think they genuinely think this. And ultimately, they are in for the shock of their lives when they keep ignoring what is happening in the rest of the world, and as things keep on getting worse. If you censor people online from being able to talk about migration, from being able to talk about rape or sexual assault, if you take down videos of police officers arresting people, if you take down MPs' own speeches in the House of Commons, and there's a little box that says, "You can't see this, naughty, naughty," do you genuinely think people are going to sit there and go, "Oh yes, this is for the safety of my kids"? No. Or are they going to go, "This is huge government overreach. How on earth could they be so stupid as to allow this to happen?" But they have. And today's big suggestion, how are they going to deal with this? They're not going to roll back on it. No, they're going to ban VPNs. They're going to ban the ways in which people actually are able to access those contents, because in Britain, all you have to do is just keep censoring.
Were you joking when you said that your tweet had been censored? Was that a joke?
That was a joke, but eventually it'll happen, I'm sure.
And so what? So there's going to be an elite force that if they don't like something that you've written in a free country with free speech, they're going to censor it?
They're going to... Why
don't I just go and live in Russia? What is happening to this country?
Supposedly this force is being set up so that they can spot anti-migrant sentiment in advance, so that they can try and work out where protests are going to happen.
Well, what about what about, why don't we work an anti-migrant sentiment force?
Yeah, this is...
Jesus God, I can't do this.
Do you remember what I said?
What?
Jeremy, do you remember what I said? When they think everything is orchestrated online, that none of it is organic, that it's all artificial. Yep. This shows that this is how they think. They don't think, where might there be a migrant hotel? Might there be an uptick in crime? And might people spontaneously turn up there? Yep. They think it's all organised online, it's Russian bots, and it's the far right, and it's being funded by, dodgy think tanks in the US. That's how they think, and that is what this is about, trying to identify protests because they think people will talk about it online before they turn up at places.
Right, I've done enough serious stuff. We're going to finish with a light-hearted story. Please feel free to ring us on 0344 499 1000 and talk about Donald Trump schooling Starmer, to talk about how many people fear that there will be riots if they don't close these migrant hotels, and how basically Starmer and his Gestapo army are going to want you to fall into line and not have an opinion on anything. But he doesn't know about this, Benedict Spence. We're going to throw... He's a man... You're a man of the world, aren't you, Spencer? You were with me the day the Pope was inaugurated, or whatever it is. A French resort town, have you heard this story? Has introduced fines for people found to be walking around topless or in their swimsuits anywhere other than on the beach. Authorities in Les Sables de Long, that was obviously rubbish, it's on France's Atlantic coast, freezing cold, have announced fines of up to €150 for walking downtown with their bits out. Railing against topless women and men, the town's mayor criticised the indecent behaviour, and it's a question of respect for locals. We don't want you walking around our town half naked, you dirty English people. It'll only happen once. If you want to show off your pecs and your best swimming shorts, you can do it at the beach. There are 11 kilometres of beach. Do not do it in my town. You're not an English man. Are you somebody that would walk around a resort with your vest on or your pecs out? Or are you somebody that would wear a linen suit and a Panama to the beach before you strip off into your full wool 1930s swimming costume? What would you do?
I wouldn't even be at the resort. How gauche. I'd be on my own estate somewhere. I don't want to be mingling with other people. I have to say, I think the idea that the French might ban topless women is fundamentally very un-French, given that the image of liberty in France is literally a topless woman. I would have thought this would be something that they massively push. But men who are going topless, I think that's outrageous. I'd even ban men wearing shorts, frankly. I think it's very unbecoming.
I don't like the men that wear those T-shirts that are cut off at the sleeve. They're appalling. But I would say the irony of this story is the French want to ban you from going topless, but not migrants. It's extraordinary, isn't it? It's absolutely extraordinary. We will ban all the men with their booby wooby looby dooby scoobies out, but not the migrants. They can come and go and do whatever.
But did you hear the story that was doing the rounds earlier today, which was that in Spain, some Spanish town, I think it might have been Mallorca, they've had massive protests against British tourists. Yeah. And so all the British tourists have left. and now they're not making any money. So they've said, the mayor of the town said, actually, please come back.
Well, I'll tell you how right you are. Years ago, I did a documentary on the Strip in Magaluf. I got pepper sprayed. It was on the front of every newspaper. People were cheering from the rooftops. But anyway, this is true. And I found out there are 4 Balearic Islands, right? And the Strip in Magaluf, which is 1.25 miles long, this was 10 years ago, accounted for 27% of the tourist turnover for the 4 islands combined. That's why, so when they jump up and down, you're dead right. And go, we don't want you bloody Brits yet. I'm doing French again. It's Mallorcan, I don't know. Anyway, anyway, there we go. So you're off to your estate on the Riviera. You will sunbathe topless if that's what you so desire.
I will be in Cannes later this summer, and maybe I will try my luck and go topless. Who knows?
I had a club sandwich in Cannes once. I had a club sandwich in Cannes once, and it was £37.50. I've never forgotten it. Lump of cheese, a bit of tomato.
A discount sandwich.
Yes, thank you. Lovely to have you on. I'm off on holiday. Are you upset or are you happy about that?
Where are you going on holiday?
I'm not telling you, am I? I'm going to the French Riviera to get my boobs out. Have a nice time. See you later. Thank you so much indeed. Benedict Spence on Talk Drive. If you want to be on, 0344 499 1000. Just to repeat, Kev and Isabel Oakeshott here tonight with a Talk exclusive. The luxurious lifestyle inside migrant hotels. Don't worry about working all day. Don't worry about putting yourself out there. You could get, I don't know, you could get like designer clothes. You could get, I mean, extraordinary things. Just have your backside wiped if you just come here as an illegal. Why would you bother? Oh, come on. Why don't we all finish work now, go to France, come over in a dinghy, you see a doctor in the morning, get some designer clothes the following day. See you in 3.
I'm glad he's back because, first of all, I ain't got no problem with that left-wing vote splintering. Woohoo! Bring it on. But also, I feel a lot more comfortable with soaking up the Muslim vote happening with someone like Corbyn, despite all his, glad-handing members of Hamas and being as radical as he is. I'm actually more comfortable with him than I am with the actual pro-Gazan MPs creating a Muslim-only party, and also more comfortable with him than I ever will be with George Galloway. So I'm sort of like, if it's got to exist, better the devil you know.
Across the UK, on DAB+, On your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
It's 5:26. We're live across the UK. In a minute, the only lefty allowed, good mate of mine, Matthew Talbot, former Labour advisor, is here. We'll head to Oxfordshire. Catherine, you're on Talk Drive. Couple of minutes. What you got?
Oh, hi, Jez. I love your programme. I'm sitting here having had a total knee replacement, trying to do a few exercises. And I thought all that stuff that you spoke about Starmer, I watched Trump and I thought he just put him in the shade completely. And I thought, oh, please, why can't we have somebody like that in this country to sort us all out now? And I was so pleased Trump said what he said about the farmers. Will any of it change Starmer's mind? Probably not.
No, it was just, as you watched him, I mean, he's in such a difficult position in his own making because he's lied to people. He lied to the waspy women. He lied to the farmers. He said all sorts of things, which he doubled down on. And now everybody's going... He was sat there like a schoolboy. Was brilliant. And then he said, Sadiq Khan's my friend. And then at the end of it, 30 seconds later, Trump went, well, if you don't do something about immigration, you're going to lose the next election to my friend, Nigel Farage. Catherine, lovely to have you on. Thank you. Dave Clifford. Hello to you, Glenn. Well done to the Lionesses. But has Chloe Kelly had a visit from the Thought Police yet? Because she did say she's proud to be English. Good on you, girl. Glenn from Broadstairs. Barry W. Is it Barry White? No, that's wrong. No. Barry White. Can someone explain just how diversity is a strength? Right, so this is what Donald Trump... Mr. Talbot, good afternoon.
Hello.
This is what the legendary Donald Trump... Loving this. Poor bugger comes in every week. This is what he said to Sir Keir Starmer and the reporters about Sadiq Khan. And Starmer, he's my friend. Have a listen, have a watch.
I'm not a fan of your mayor. Why not? I think he's done a terrible job, the mayor of London. But a nasty person. I think he's done. I think he's a friend of mine, right? No, I think he's done a terrible job. But I would certainly visit London. Yeah. Well, I like Nigel. I mean, Nigel, as you know, is a friend of mine. Nigel's done very well. He's a friend of mine.
So quick as lightning, Sir Sadiq Khan, I struggle to say that to him, has come out with, I look forward to welcoming Donald Trump to London because you can see how diversity is our strength, not our weakness. What did you... Talbot, bless him, he's been ill and he's come in for this. What did you make of... I can't even bring myself to ask. You don't know what to say, do you? I mean, I know they have to be kowtowing, but it's ludicrous, man. Here's something for you on a political thing. Lots of people have said this. We might have different views on certain things, but there are certain issues right now that are at the forefront of everybody's mind in this country, like immigration, like taxation, like the police, law and order. How come Donald Trump can identify the 4 or 5 things, like the farmers, like wind farms, which he describes as crap, that people are thinking, and our own politicians of all sides seem incapable? He didn't even mention the Tories, man. They're dead in the water, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they are. I think... The PM's body language was very interesting, and you see that as soon as Trump speaks and he says something, the hands begin to tighten, and the look of, he cannot hide, he doesn't have a poker face, the look of panic on his face comes in, and you could tell he was thinking, I better just say something. I think what he would have been better doing is you let Trump say his piece, entitled to say his piece, and obviously him and the London mayor have got a lot of history going back many years. And you would just say, can I just say, Sadiq's a friend of mine. I'm really proud of the work he's been doing in London. That's why he's done 3 historic terms, blah, blah, blah. And, if Trump wants to have another go, he can do, but you've got it out in a very professional manner. It isn't all backslapping and weird and awkward.
Because he jumped in and Trump didn't even look at him and he went, well, Nigel Farage is a friend of mine. He doesn't give a toss, does he?
No, so I think it was weird. I will say they've done a pretty good job because Trump said himself this afternoon, he says, I've only got good things to say about you in this country. And I think they've done well I think this is why it was a bit overblown. We can't have Trump, I assume this was at play, we can't have Trump speaking when it isn't recess, when Parliament's in sitting, because he might say bad things about, freedom of speech. Donald Trump's someone that very bad with detail, right? He's not going to do a J.D. Vance like at the Munich Security Conference and know...
Yeah, but he touches... What I'm saying is he's got political antennae because he's a businessman. He knows exactly what people are talking about.
But even Donald Trump, with the love he clearly has for this country and he feels a special affinity because of his own mother being from Scotland, is he going to come to UK's Parliament and slag the country?
No.
I don't think he would, and I think that's why it was a bit weird him, being penciled in for... when it was recess and the idea that MPs might walk out. Any left-wing MP I've spoke to just wouldn't go. It wasn't about making a protest or it's just silly. So, very weird scenes. I thought it was interesting Starmer's wife went.
I didn't know she was around.
Lady Starmer famously went on the original march against Donald Trump's first visit when he was with the blimp. And
maybe he's got her under his maybe Lady Starmer and the Donald will start some sort of friendship. That'd be great.
Apparently they previously bonded over family, him and the Prime Minister. So
how big is his? Interesting dynamic. And the Farage thing. I mean, let's make the point about the Tories. Not even bloody well mentioned the Tory party. I mean, as irrelevant now as they've ever been. I mean, I don't think literally, he didn't mention them. Now, obviously, Farage is his mate and all that. But he said it's between you and Nigel. I mean, that's extraordinary. If you're Kemi Badenoch, you're thinking, what have I got to do?
Yeah, but
resign.
All you've got to do is read a poll. For the last 12 months, it's not hard. And I'll be astounded if Donald Trump even knows who Kemi Badenoch is. And the longer she's there, I've said it before, she makes the Tories less relevant by the day. That's exactly where they are.
We spoke last week about the Bell Hotel in Epping in Essex. We talked about how there were other Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf, up in Diss in Norfolk. Many people saying that what happened at the Bell is a signal flare for another summer of disorder. It's a year tomorrow that the horrors of Southport happen. Labour, the government, facing mounting pressure to shut these asylum hotels. The Tories wading in, nobody gives a damn. Where do these people go? This is why we need to get this bloody well organised. What are you going to do, put them in private housing? Back to my idea of that big boat in the Channel that's with people that are trained to make a decision. And you and I would probably disagree on this, but I don't understand why we're doing this. These people should be in detention centres if they're illegal and they haven't been processed. I don't understand it. It's outrageous.
It comes back to what I've said for a long time. I've written about it, I've spoken about it and also to use the Prime Minister's words of this is a national security issue. Then why are we not stopping them coming?
Yes.
As I've said before, I believe in the moral duty of the strong helping the weak. And I think opening your arms to places like Ukraine and elsewhere that are under real risk, I haven't an issue with.
Me neither.
The same with Hong Kong.
But when people are taking the PISS out of you to the detriment of your own people, that is different to helping the rest of the world, isn't it?
I agree. And what is a national security issue is not being able to differentiate who is an economic migrant and who is potentially a genuine asylum seeker.
Absolutely.
I have no idea why we are not doing offshore processing.
Absolutely.
The French have offered it in the past to Boris Johnson. They were going to pay for it and let us put our own home office staff in.
I don't understand that either.
And I think that, for me, rather than, smash the gangs and all this bizarre stuff, stop the boats is, a much easier slogan to understand for Joe Public, who may not understand the intricacies of organised gang crime when it comes to human trafficking and otherwise. But I think the recent poll I saw was 40% of those... It might be 60% of those voting reform or intending to vote reform at the next election. The thing that irks them most is seeing the people cross the Channel. That's the thing I pick up on. People don't always talk about the fact that 500,000 came in last year or X, Y, Z. They might notice a certain demographic change over time, and that I can understand. But the thing that immediately gets their blood boiling is turning on the TV every day and seeing people taking the mick. And they are taking the mick because even I sat there...
Of course they're taking the mick.
I sat there the other week and I try and switch off sometimes with some of this stuff. I have some breakfast channel on. I couldn't believe the size of the boat. The boats they're getting, it was like a bouncy castle.
Yeah.
And listen, don't get me wrong, it is a treacherous journey when the weather's bad, but I couldn't believe...
But and I think the reason that it's turned, and I'm being completely honest, there's a story about Birmingham Council today, and this is not... This is genuine, right? This isn't what Donald would call fake news. You see that on the telly, and then you speak to people in this country who are going... Well, I'm sort of missing out. I can't get this or I can't get that. Birmingham Council, it's about $1 billion in debt, is offering small boat asylum seekers hefty discounts on leisure activities, right? They're in the 7th month of a bin strike, right? There's rubbish everywhere. They're giving migrants 25% up to their passport to leisure migrant scheme, right? They get a fifth off the use of council swimming pools. Martial art classes are subsidised. Courses on trampolining, golf, gymnastics, football, yoga, squash and badminton sessions, and they're even offering Aston Villa tickets for £1. I'm not being rude, but we go back to it. As you said, you're watching that, listening to that, and you're going, who am I? These people who say, oh, these people who are criticising illegal migrants, you don't understand. Try explaining those stories to hard-working people now in their car who've been up since 6 o'clock. They laugh in your face, mate. They laugh in your face.
They will. I would say I don't think it's turned because you might get free yoga classes or get to possibly go and watch Aston Villa.
But when you can't see a doctor, man, and they're seeing a doctor there, I don't even like saying that, but I'm being honest. The doctor arrives at an asylum hotel within 24 hours. A dentist the same. And not me. I've paid into this for 20 years and I've waited 3 months to see a doctor. Not having it anymore.
No,
that's perfectly, to me, that's just common sense.
I agree, but again, I think me and you would hopefully agree. No one's coming here for, steak bakes from Greggs and that sort of type of
But the
culture.
list of things that you get has got to be preferable to a stale baguette and a French tent.
Yeah, no, I think it's the accommodation. It is. That's what I think it is. I think it's the fact that that because of certain human rights laws that you will be looked after in a sense and that you will have a roof over your head. And this comes back to the point of if you want it, we've got to get the bills down for this sort of stuff.
Completely agree.
You've got to have a sense of fairness in the country. And the thing that worries me, whether it be riots or otherwise, is there is such a distinct lack of community in many parts of our country because people feel, and actually this plays into a broader economic narrative.
Social cohesion's on a knife edge.
But the social contract's broken as well. I think, of course...
but that's a really good word, and that's why those people, those mothers, out on the streets in Epping are not far right. They feel that their community is being affected. They have every right to say that.
Yeah, because they're going to have sons and daughters who, I look back to my mum and dad. Mum was a cleaner, dad was a postie. They got a mortgage in the 90s. You're never getting a mortgage now as a postie and a cleaner together. There's just no chance. And that is where we're losing people all the time, regardless of governments, regardless of whatever. And immigration is a very obvious thing you can point to of going, what's the point? Why am I getting out and slogging my guts? And we've all done it. We've all worked jobs where you're up at the crack of dawn on minimum wage and then not getting home till late, or you've missed the last bus, and it's a thankless task. And I remember working in hospital, your hands full of stuff out the sink, you've got to clean up everything, you're on your own, people are taking the mick. And then you look at that. No, I totally get people's feelings. But again, it comes back to offshore. For a security issue, but also for the fact that there's got to be some level of organisation because it is
I don't understand how a country cannot train 1,000, turned into a crack 1,000 number border force people who are trained to do these processes, not about pronouns and that rubbish, but these are the essential questions and parts, and we're going to make a decision. And if you ain't coming in, you're not going to stay in a boat or a hotel, you're going to a detention centre, and I'm going to build one that means that the message that will filter back to wherever is, it's not that easy and it's not so nice.
And you know,
love him or loathe him, there's no problem in America now. You're not allowed in.
Well, actually, the polls are turning on his immigration stuff, and the problem with what Trump's doing is 0 people have come in illegally, but he said he was going to crack down on the worst of the worst. When you're getting like gay Ecuadorian hairdressers being hauled in as one of the worst, who's I think overstayed by a couple of months, that's not the worst of the worst, and that's turning off your swing voters as such. I like
what you did with the gay Ecuadorian hairdresser and the word swing, but we'll crack on.
Very good.
You see what I did there?
I didn't even notice. This is why you're on the big books, Jez, and I'm sat here, you know what I mean?
No, don't be ridiculous.
But no, I forgot my train of thought. He's totally thrown me off.
Now listen, you are very good because he's been very ill, ladies and gentlemen. I'm off for 10 days now, which is going to devastate you, isn't it?
I enjoy coming in and speaking to you.
We love having you on, mate. You are always welcome. The excellent Matthew Talbot here on Talk Drive Rack 20 to 6. Live across the UK. Sport this hour and your calls 0344 499 1000. Text 87222. Back in 3. I'm off for a week.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Tonight from 10, ahead of that, Kev O'Sullivan with Isabel Oakeshott. Talk exclusive tonight from 7 o'clock. This is fantastic. Some extraordinary footage, ladies and gentlemen, of the luxurious lifestyle inside some of these migrant hotels we're talking about. Stuff that you could only dream of. Designer clothes, PlayStations. It's costing this country almost £6 million a day. Some scandal, all on Kev O'Sullivan from 7 o'clock. We're live and exclusive across the UK. JK, until 7. Jez, I'm at home with extreme kidney pain. I don't know who that's from. However, the last hour with Starmer and Trump has made my day. This is Lee the veteran. Lee the veteran from Walsall. Good man. Andrew's in Hertfordshire. Starmer has been trumped. I'm sure Starmer was literally trumping as he was trumped. Very interesting. Yes, he looked like he was in the middle of a poo. Jez, wow, Trump played it word perfect. How to make our useless PM squirm and look ridiculous by making factual comments about his poor decisions without singling him directly. Gotta love him. Wish we had someone with the same balls to lead this country. Oh, we have. Nigel Farage. He must be our next Prime Minister. Hello to Mark in Norfolk. Toe curling box office indeed. Trump scolding Starmer was the thing to behold. A chastened regional director, a manager receiving a visit from the national sales director. I love it. Mick, once Trump has been to see the king, he will wipe the floor with a duplicitous Starmer. I don't know whether he will or not. Louise, do you think we could do a student swap and send Starmer to America and keep Trump? Possibly. Hello from Freebie Birmingham, said Mags. Our bin should have been emptied. Not. The city is bankrupt. The council racks through the roof, tax through the roof and gives freebies away. What a disgrace. I'm 81. It's never been so bad. Trevor is in Harrow. Please tell Peter Blexley I'm looking forward to seeing him. Hello to Lynn. Would have loved someone to show the clips you show of Starmer flip-flopping in his remarks on Trump. Wonder if Trump is being polite until the state visit is out the way. I just think he's playing him like a good one. John from Angus. Donald got the chair so far apart. He didn't have to... Yeah, he didn't. Carol's in Southampton. Mark's in Norfolk. Thank you so much indeed. Loads of people. And Norman from Reading. The government could use the grace and favour properties they own, like Chequers, Dorneywood and even Lambeth Palace, to house the migrants. Plenty of space. That'll make it... Why doesn't Sir Sadiq Khan give up some of the massive mayoral residences to all these illegal migrants? We'll go to London. Georgina, you're on Talk Drive. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm absolutely fabulous, even more so after watching Donald Trump giving Keir Starmer a verbal bashing. I thought that was magnificent. And he's the only one in Britain at the moment that can do it and get away with it, because the rest of us are censored to the point where if we say anything, Jez, we get either trawled up in front of a judge or incarcerated. So well done, Mr. Trump. We all love you here in the UK and keep up the good work.
Great, Georgina. Lovely to have you on. Let's shoot to Bournemouth. Karen, you're on Talk Drive. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, Jeremy. How are you?
You all right?
I'm ready for holidays, I take it.
What?
You ready for your holiday?
Not really. I don't like holidays, really, to be honest.
Oh,
I don't like.
You'll love it. You'll love it.
No, I won't. No, if I'm not centred to the action, I get a bit bored. I'm joking. Right, go on, talk to me about wind farms. He absolutely did. By the way, your entire energy policy is a load of old rubbish as well. Wind farms are useless and they make your energy bills higher, which is what most people think, isn't it?
Yeah. No, what I was going to say is that he stood there, because there was 2 interviews, weren't there? The one outside before they went in. And he stood there and barefaced lied, saying, oh, we are stopping the boat. And then when they was on the inside one, a young lady asked a question about the farmers, saying about the suicide. And he was trying to deny there was any suicide. And then he did his usual claim of, oh, we got free speech, we've had it for a very long time. How does a man stand there and lie so barefaced?
Because I don't think he actually knows what he thinks anymore, if I'm completely honest. Karen in Bournemouth, thank you. We've got a voice note. Alan's in Swansea on Trump. Go.
Oh, I've just been watching Comedy Gold with Trump and Starmer. All questions, fantastic. First one, immigration. Trump absolutely blew him out the water. Starmer stammering as usual and grabbing his thumb for some reason. Then it was about the windmills, the energy, ridiculous. Starmer again squirming. He knew the question was coming. And then the top of the farmers, about the taxing, and Starmer, oh, we're doing everything we can to help. absolute squirming he knows. We know he's lying because he keeps grabbing his thumb to being sincere. Absolutely trumps onto him, and the whole country can see what an absolute charlatan he is. Well done, Trump. Starmer, clueless.
I'm sorry, grabbing the thumb if you're feeling insecure. I've never done that before. Have you grabbed anything when you're insecure? Wilshire, Laura, literally 1 minute on Talk Drive. What you got?
Okay, I was born in Epping. That's all I'm going to say. Trump is fabulous. I think Benedict's wrong. I think the problem is that our government are frit, and the reason they're coming after us, for our opinions, is that we, the majority, are largely law-abiding people. But if we all turned, they'd have a massive, massive problem. So it's easier for them to come after us than to go after the problems.
Couldn't agree more. Good afternoon to Stan the man. He says, I've never laughed so much watching Trump berate Starmer. And when Starmer said, God is my friend, I laughed even more. Robin Lynn, that has to be the most embarrassing interview I've ever seen. Our PM looked like a rabbit in the headlights. Can there be any parliamentarians from all sides who watch that? They must have realised we are being led by a dead man walking, possibly. Richard, I love the Donald. He says he's a legend. Russell's in Worthing. Jez, can you please provide a rundown of the Oasis gig? Tickets, traffic, atmosphere. Oasis gig, incredible. Tickets free. Traffic fine. Police escort. Atmosphere, incredible. Birdie, or even Birdie says, it's not just France. They're not allowed to get you walk around in a swimming costume showing your boobs, or men in those silly things. It's not just France, Jez. Albuquerque and the Algarve just introduced the same decency for topless and scantily clad. Debbie says, Jez, you are a numpty. A cut-off T-shirt, the arms, is called a vest. Yeah, I know what a vest is, love, but you know those men that have those T-shirts that have no arms, that are horrific? No good. It's like those three-quarter length trousers. Anyway, listen. It's 11 minutes to 6. We've got the sport with the legendary Ian Dante. That's what he wanted me to say. It's next on Talk Drive.
I'm glad he's back because, first of all, I ain't got no problem with that left-wing vote splintering. Woohoo! Bring it on. But also, I feel a lot more comfortable with soaking up the Muslim vote happening with someone like Corbyn, despite all his, glad-handing members of Hamas and being as radical as he is. I'm actually more comfortable with him than I am with the actual pro-Gazan MPs creating a Muslim-only party, and also more comfortable with him than I ever will be with George Galloway. So I'm sort of like, if it's got to exist, better the devil you know.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Jez, if they ever bring back a low, you would have a job with La Résistance des Français. Listen very carefully. I will say this only once. Craig in Staffordshire. By the way, MG, Migrant, they're back tomorrow morning, 6, 8 o'clock, and at 7 tonight, a world exclusive. Kevin Isabel Oakeshott giving you an explosive look via Talk. It's an exclusive of how... Like, this is shocking footage, right? Migrants, designer trainers, PlayStations. You just go to work and pay your tax. Don't miss it, 7 o'clock. Just push the button, Ames.
Sport Summary on Talk.
Ian Danter, how are you?
Oh, I was waiting for the second half of that, which wasn't too kind. Thankfully, you didn't go there. Hello.
I was absolutely, and I freely admit this, enthralled by the Lionesses last night. I really, really was. Fantastic. They're heading towards Downing Street for a thingy with Sir Keir Starmer. It reminds me of when the Ashes boys went and got absolutely trolleyed. But incredible scenes last night in Switzerland, mate. What a coach Serena Wiegmann is.
She just keeps on doing it. She keeps on motivating players, and it's not just what she's done with England, it's what she's done before in her international career as a manager. She just finds ways to knit players together, understand their chemistry, understand when to make changes, and give them all the faith and give them all the self-belief that they need to get the job done. And I think self-belief in amongst that Lionesses squad was key to what they achieved. When you think that they weren't in front that often during the course
if
of the
at all, I think they were always behind. The strength of character. I'll tell you what I wanted to ask you. I haven't got the time in the world. Hannah Hampton, brilliant. I read an amazing article on this girl. She was told at 3 she wouldn't be able to have a football career, that there were some problems with her vision. She's fought to be England's #1. Did you see the bits of sticky tape on her arm? She'd obviously done her homework with the backroom staff as to which way certain people were going to take penalties. And I don't know the name of the best player in the world, but she did a very average penalty, didn't she?
Well, we're moving on from water bottles with information on because quite often cameras seem to be able to be trained on that and actually, work as against the person who's got the water bottle. So now it's on sort of sticking plasters on the inner arm that can be sort of furtively looked at. But yes, Hannah Hampton had a distance and perception issue as a child, and it wasn't thought that she was going to have a career. I heard her former coach, Carla Ward, who coached her at both Birmingham and Villa women, just extolling her virtues about how
great team Villa, though, aren't they? It's a fantastic team, Aston Villa, men's and women's. Brilliant, don't you think, Dance?
They're a team. And Carla was saying just how, hungry Hannah was from a very early age to learn and develop, and she says that still persists.
Great to have a team of that stature in Britain's second city, Aston Villa, isn't it?
Next, what we're talking about next?
Well, actually, I'm not going to talk about the cricket. I thought it was incredibly boring. There were some great performances. I'm glad to see Ben Stokes at top form, but yesterday was possibly, in the words of Ryan, the producer of this vain attempt at a radio programme, the most boring day of cricket he'd ever seen. 0 for 2, great belief it was going to happen, and all went wrong after that. One wonders what would have happened if Jofra Archer's second ball, it would have been 4 down, had been caught by Joe Root. But Jesus, great performances, flat as a pancake, that pitch.
It was a bit, and that was a tough chance for Joe Root. Let's face it, he was flying through the air. He's flying back. I don't think we can call that, a chance that he should have taken. It was just very unlucky that it didn't stick. I was waiting for, bowlers to do impressions of other bowlers like they used to in Test matches when I was growing up, when it was, clearly just dribbling out to a draw. But and I saw the sort of frosty response that the Indian batsman gave to Ben Stokes when he held out his hand wanting to shake on it there and then. They wanted centuries. If that had been Joe Root looking to usurp, Rahul Dravid and Ricky Ponting as he actually did in this Test match, then he would have stayed out there. He wouldn't have...
Yeah, but Root's such a team man, he wouldn't. He'd have done the right thing. I'm going to tell you that you changed my Sunday night. In a house of sickness where I did almost everything, I'm quite happy to do it this weekend. I finally sat down last night and I decided to put on the darts.
Right. And you enjoyed it?
That kid is something else, isn't he? I mean, honestly, I mean, he obviously... He is different gravy, man, isn't he?
At 18 years of age, he's already won the World Championship. He's now won the World Match Play. Luke Littler, we're talking about last night won the World Match Play in Blackpool. He's won the UK Open.
He's the youngest person to ever win, ladies and gentlemen. Just to tell you that I'm up on
That's
this, the Triple
and
Crown.
The player he beat, James Wade, was the previous record holder for the youngest ever match play winner at 24. So he's beaten that record by 6 years. And his averaging was, in terms of his 3-night average, was 105, which is quite fantastic to sustain that.
When you look at that and you see him and you see how darts has taken off as a spectator sport, you think that Phil Taylor won 16 world titles. I think this kid could be at the top for. He went 7-0 down in the semi-final, 5-0 down. It doesn't even look worried, mate. Looks like he can just play with people.
Yes,
tries to go out. I mean, I don't understand darts, but just doesn't go for the easy shot. Goes for the difficult one. Brilliant.
No, he does have. I mean, he's got an incredible brain in terms of calculating where to go when he's getting down towards a finish. And we were joking in the commentary box last night on TalkSport 2 that he's got a snooze button that he suddenly wakes up sort of 5 legs into.
I had the television sound down and I was listening to you.
Well, that's very kind. But what I will say is, in terms of how many titles he can win, Jez, that's entirely up to him.
Yeah.
I'm not really ready to have a conversation about whether he can get anywhere near Phil Taylor's 16 world match plays.
No.
Because Taylor played in an era where he was just utterly dominant. Littler may well be dominant, but it's up to him and only him as to how long he wants to play darts, because there are so many opportunities for him growing outside of the sport that it's really, as we go forward, it's going to be about his motivation and what he wants to do. And he may not want to play darts for as long as Taylor did. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll have this conversation in 5 years' time. And
I'll
see
be dead by then. You'll be doing that with somebody else, so that'll be lovely. I'm glad, though, and just going back to the Lionesses, fantastic Hannah Hampton representing a great team like Aston Villa, who are set for another season in the Premier League.
But, of course, she started a career at Birmingham City, who are an equally fantastic team.
Yeah, well, people have opinions. The legend that is Ian Danter, thank you very much, Steve. What a great man he is. Sport, back tomorrow night. What is it, almost 6 o'clock? We're live across the UK. Don't forget that extra special talk exclusive with Kev and Isabel tonight from 7 o'clock. You want to wonder what these migrants are getting. PlayStations, designer clothes. It's a talk exclusive. It's on in less than an hour. We got the news on the way. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number, or even telephone number. See you in 3.
the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Just gone 6 o'clock, an hour to go ahead of that Talk exclusive with Kevin and Isabel about how just so bloody great a life it is to be a migrant in the United Kingdom. You're going to work, you're probably in your car, you've probably been up for 12 hours, your kids are probably moaning, your wife's moaning about bills, or your partner, I don't say wife anymore, probably not. They're going to give you this Talk exclusive. Talk about luxurious lifestyle, PlayStations, designer clothes. It's costing us £6 million a day. And that's what's going on. Just don't miss it. It's going to be fantastic. If you want to be on the next hour, the amazing Chloe Dobbs in just a tick. 0344 499 1000. So it's all about Trump. Trump arrived today. Well, he didn't. He's been in Scotland for 3 days. Starmer beetled up to Scotland with Lady Trump. No, Lady Starmer. That's right, isn't it? Who once went on a march against his first visit. So I don't quite know. Anyway, it was the most amazing piece of television. Starmer basically schooled by Trump, sat there like a naughty schoolboy. And he talked about how he believes that Starmer's wrong on farmers, on wind. He slagged off his immigration policy, and he slagged off Sadiq Khan. And I think overall, if you said to the 47th President of the United States, what do you actually think of the Labour government? He'd probably say this.
I don't know what the they're doing.
3 minutes past 6, a very good evening to Chloe. I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you.
I'm really excited. So we do
here.
Plank of the Week a lot together, and I thought we've got to get you here. This lady is more outspoken than anybody ever. Did you see the interview? Did you see the toe-curling box office Trump and Starmer thing?
I've seen various snippets, and whatever they've negotiated on trade deals, nobody's talking about it. No one's seen that. Everyone is just looking at Trump berating Starmer and the UK on various policies that you've outlined, and also Keir Starmer lying through his teeth. As we've just found out that we're going to have this elite police squad set up to monitor anti-migrant social media posts, he stands there and says, "Oh, we've got free speech in the UK and I'm really, really proud of it." And then he said, "We're making huge progress on solving the boats crisis. We've deported 35,000 people who shouldn't be here." Those 35,000 didn't come across on boats. You're talking about people who came here legally and overstayed. He has lied through his teeth, not just to us, but to the US president, which I think is pretty disrespectful. So, not impressed.
No, well, if you didn't see it all, you're absolutely spot on, as ever. Let's remind ourselves, this is what... It just went for his jugular. I can't just enjoy myself. This is what the Donald said, with Starmer 2 feet away, squirming like the most squirmable person. This is what he said about taxes and immigration. Have a listen, have a watch.
Politics is pretty simple. It's, I assume there's a thing going on between you and Nigel, and it's okay, you know, it's two parties. But generally speaking, the one who cuts taxes the most, the one who gives you the lowest energy prices and the best kind of energy, the one that keeps you out of wars, he's kept you out of wars, but the one that keeps you out of wars, you know, you have a few basics, and you can go back 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years, whoever does these things, but low taxes, keep us safe, keep us out of wars, no crime, stop the crime. And in your case, a big immigration component, you know, because I know that your attitude has become strong on immigration, strong on the toughness of immigration. But I think whoever's going to be, I think I won because we had a lousy president, to be honest with you. We had an incompetent president. But I won because I was very strong on immigration.
Chloe, honestly, look at Starmer. He's just like a... Somebody said it's like the regional sales manager being called to the chairman's office, or the chairman coming to visit. It's just embarrassing.
Or being called for the headmaster's office when you're about to be expelled.
It's just unbelievable.
It's embarrassing. And I'm all for democracy, but at this point I'm like, Trump, just invade us. Just take over.
Yeah, we want to be the 51st state.
If Trump was here, I can assure you there wouldn't be a single boat coming.
No.
From day one, there wouldn't be a single boat coming. You saw what he did with the southern border. Yeah. He showed he used his power of negotiation, for example, with the Colombians. Within, a few hours, he sorted them out. They said, we won't take anyone back. And he said, fine, I'll slap on 50% tariffs. And they said, oh, no. Oh, we'll take them all back. No problem. We'll give you a plane as well.
380,000, I think, came in a 3-month last year. Was it March, April, May or something? 300. I mean, it's extraordinary. But so he schools him on that, right? Drops in Nigel Farage, doesn't he? I mean, and also one thing I was going to say to you: Tory's irrelevant, man.
No,
not a mention anymore.
I mean, nobody's talking about them. not Trump nor anybody in this country. Everyone knows that they are just dead in the water and not worth saving anymore.
And also, I loved when he went and said what he said about GB Energy, because he sort of basically said, you know, it's a disaster wind, and everything that Starmer has built is GB Energy, and Jurgen's running it, and we're doing this. Unbelievable. And I said earlier, before we talk about Khan, that he seems to be able to come over and talk about the things on a serious note that we talk about every week on Plank, that people in this country are worried about every single week. Every single day they wake up and they talk about immigration. They talk about, if you're a farmer, how he's going to destroy your livelihood. If you're a waspy woman, if you're a veteran, if you get promised by a government will lower your energy bills and they go through the bleeding roof. I just wish, maybe Farage is the man, maybe he isn't, but I wish we had a politician who was that straight.
I mean, it's quite saying something, the fact that Trump, who's got his own huge country to run, doesn't have that much time to focus on what's going on in the UK, clearly from that clip, has a better inkling as to what matters to the British people than Starmer, who sat next to him, who's supposedly our Prime Minister. Keir Starmer, he's got absolutely no clue what people in this country care about. Absolutely. No idea whatsoever.
Or doesn't want to acknowledge that, you know, that's why everybody gets labelled. So, Sadiq Khan, who I just,
Where do we start with that, man?
Well, I mean, I blame Londoners. They get upset with me. 1 million people in London out of 12 voted for him. Where the other bloody hell were the other 11 million? Because this guy's a disgrace. Everybody that I know says, oh, Sadiq Khan, stop talking about diversity and concentrate on the fact that your city is the worst for knife crime, probably in the Western world. This was, if you're just coming in for work, this was Trump describing what he thought of Sadiq Khan. This is brilliant.
I'm not a fan of your mayor. Why not? I think he's done a terrible job, the mayor of London. But the nasty person, I think he's done. I think he's a friend of mine, right? No, I think he's done a terrible job. But I would certainly visit London. Yeah. Well, I like Nigel. I mean, Nigel, as you know, is a friend of mine. Nigel's done very well. He's a friend of mine.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Starmer, just how embarrassing was that? It's a friend of mine.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone after Sadiq Khan there, and I'm glad that he did, because Sadiq Khan deserves it. But the thing is, all of Starmer's mates, including, well, Starmer himself, before Labour came into power, said absolutely horrible things about Trump. I mean, you know, we've got David Lammy as our Foreign Secretary, who was, you know, helping, I believe, run that protest with the big Trump balloon when he came to visit last time. Sadiq Khan absolutely despises Donald Trump, so it's no surprise.
Yeah, Khan responded and said, you know, we welcome him to London so he can learn how successful diversity is.
Yes, Sadiq Khan said, oh, I'm willing to be friends with Trump now. I'll invite him to come to London and come to Pride and come to the mosque. He's clearly setting him up there so that if Trump doesn't take up that officer, he can say, Trump's a homophobe and Islamophobe. That's clearly what he's doing. It's not like Sadiq Khan suddenly likes
I can't have Sadiq Khan. The other two main stories that I want to talk about, everybody's got an opinion. Mike Chiswell says, why are we so weak? Jill says, the best carry-on comedy film ever should be Carry On Trumping, with Donald as Mr. Wise Guy and Keir as Mr. Dumbo. That's actually true. Hello to Angela Clark. The other two big news stories over the weekend, and this went on from last week, certainly what happened at the Bell Hotel in Epping in Essex. Everybody's been talking about the impact. Now, pressure over the weekend on the Labour government to shut that particular asylum hotel. My question is, where the hell are these people going to go? This is why they shouldn't be in this country now. They should have been processed offshore immediately so that we don't have this issue. It's costing billions, millions every single day. If you shut these hotels, which people have every right to protest and say, hold on a second, I'm concerned about my community, I'm concerned about my kids, I'm not far right, I'm just worried. That's why these people shouldn't be in this country. But they're saying that Epping could be a signal flare for a summer of discontent. What do you make of it?
I think there's a good chance that we are going to have a lot of protests going on over summer. I think that after we had some skirmishes, after Antifa rocked up at Epping the first time, the police, they really made an effort to put on a good policing operation. When we've had further protests, they've been putting everyone in separate fenced off. Yeah, kettling them.
Not just bring them together.
Kettling them, essentially. So we will definitely have a lot of protests. Whether that results in any rioting, I don't know. I hope that that doesn't happen. But people are rightly furious about this. Now, where do these people go, you've asked? Well, we've got both short-term and long-term things to talk. So long-term, we shouldn't have any boats coming. We shouldn't have anyone being put up in the hotel at taxpayers' expense. Short-term, first of all, yes, you should consult communities about where you're going to put a hotel. It shouldn't be anywhere near a school. I'm sorry, not acceptable. And second of all, is it not unreasonable as a short-term crisis solution to say, if you live in one of these hotels as a migrant, you haven't been processed yet, you're not allowed to leave. I don't think that's cruel. You're staying in a nice hotel. Some of them have got pools and they've got PlayStations and all sorts. I mean, people pay to go on holiday to these all-inclusive hotels and they never leave the hotel. So it can't be that bad, can it? Kids who go to boarding school when they're young, they're not even allowed to leave the school grounds and they do all right. So is it not unreasonable to say for the safety of the town and the children that live here and the women that live here, we've got these unvetted men, you're not allowed to leave until your asylum process a claim is processed? I don't think that's crazy, do you?
I don't, and for people who think that we go on about this, there's an exclusive tonight with Kevin and Isabel Oakeshott from 7 o'clock. They've got some, I mean, it is shocking footage, right? Talk about luxurious lifestyle. You just touched upon it, like, you know, designer clothes and PlayStations. It's eye-watering, and it goes back to people who are working now, like you say, are not far right. This is where this government doesn't listen. The people that are frustrated and are being tapped into by reform are saying, and I say it every day and people go, you're saying it again because it's true. I'm paying my taxes, I'm not breaking the law, I'm doing everything right by my kids, I'm paying everything, I've never asked for bugger all, and now I can't get basic stuff that you seem to give to other people 20 times quicker than me. And I think that is the basic reason that there is so much discontent, and I don't think they understand. I thought it was really interesting the other day when somebody said get outside the M25. I don't believe that people realise in government quite how strong the feeling is amongst people.
I think it's more so in these rural areas that they're more furious about what's happening there, because you put one of these hotels of, say, 400 people in a village of 200-300 people, and that's an absolute nightmare. And the thing that I find really ironic is Stand Up to Racism turning up to all these events. Not only do they not live in the area and are lecturing these mums and dads there that they shouldn't be worried about the safety of their girls, but second of all, if you want to eliminate racism in society, you need to make sure that people are treated equally. Where people start to build resentment towards a certain group of people is when they see that group of people being given better treatment than them. Right, and so if you're giving people a free place to stay, they don't have to work for it, and they're being given designer clothes and whatever else, whilst you're getting up, setting your alarm every day and working hard, and you're not as well off as them. Of course, you're going to start building resentment, and we will end up with genuine racism in our society if we carry on this way. So Stand Up to Racism being there is just completely hypocritical in my
I mean, it was so appalling last week. We talked on Plank, but I said a scenario, and people were like, I can't believe you said that. If Antifa and Stand Up to Racism, whatever they stand up for or wherever they come from, have been outside that hotel making a protest that was pro-migrant, can you have seen the Essex police if 50 skinheads with swastikas on their forehead and leather boots, the horrendous fire them down? It was so bad, and for me it was all about ideology and rhetoric. But you're dead right, and it's getting to a point where people who are not, everybody gets labelled the same by this government. I mean, the other thing is this. I mean, this story to me, I think, is the most scary story of all: censorship. So Keir Starmer's being accused of an obsession with censorship after it emerged. He's creating an elite team of police officers who will monitor social media posts to quell riots. So now you can be arrested from something you put on X. And bearing in mind their track record with Lucy Connolly, people would be too frightened to actually have an opinion, won't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people are already very scared after hearing that, and I can't confirm for certain whether this is true, but I've seen it in some of the newspaper articles suggesting that some people who are speaking online about organising protests are having their posts taken down. Protests, not riots. And the thing that's really concerning about this is if they had said, we are setting up this squad to find genuine incitement of violence, time and place, come riot here at this time, fine.
Absolutely,
okay.
Want those scumbags arrested.
But what we're hearing is they are looking for posts with anti-migrant sentiment and potential early signs of civil unrest. The police in this UK, they pride themselves on their de-escalation skills, where they get in early. So, for example...
Sorry, they pride themselves on what?
Their de-escalation
Try
skills.
telling that to somebody who's had their house burgled or their shop nicked. They don't even see a bloody policeman or woman.
Exactly. So the idea with the police is if you see two people shouting in the streets, they'll step in and have a chat before they actually start fighting. Wow. And what they're thinking here is if someone has posted something critical of immigration online, we better step in there before they get to the point where they start inciting violence and inciting riots. But that has a horrific chilling effect on free speech. I don't think it's appropriate at all. And given their track record, as you say, with Lucy Connolly, Peter Lynch, etc., I do not trust them at all.
It's really, really scary that also, well, not scary, I mean, because we'll take it on head on, but it's also, you look at it and you go, this is so blatantly one-sided and two-tier, however you describe it. And I said this after Southport last year, and I will say on record, no time for those thugs. None whatsoever in a million years, right? But to say to it, I had a call straight after this from a nurse who was really hacked off with what's happening in the NHS, doesn't like the immigration issue, 45 years of age, and she said to me, Jez, I'm not far right, but now I'm too scared to go outside and complain in case I get arrested or I get labelled. And you looked at Southport and the aftermath of that, and then you look at what's happened with this, and you think this government has a very clear idea of what it is happy to allow and not. That's a tinderbox. That creates the tinderbox, and it begs the question. Social cohesion is on a knife edge. There's no doubt about that in my mind.
Oh, no doubt whatsoever. And I think we thought that the government was heading in the right direction when a few days ago we heard that Angela Rayner had gone to the cabinet. Ethiopia. That Angela had gone to the cabinet and said we need to genuinely address people's concerns about migrations in this country.
Well, that's just a soundbite.
But then,
that's a soundbite.
I know, and it clearly was, because then a couple of days later we then hear actually their solution to the problem is not to solve the migration crisis, but to take down our social media posts, which makes the problem worse, because the real problem is people feel like they don't have a voice in society, not at the ballot box, and clearly not on social media either as well, because they worry they're going to get arrested. It's making the problem worse. It's making people feel more disenfranchised.
Completely agree. 12 months in, they're going to censor what you write. They've ended the ability for certain councils to have elections because they presumably know what's coming. I honestly, when we were broadcasting, with broadcasting, there's a thing called purdah, and when you're broadcasting up to an election, you have to be really straight. But because I'm old, I remember 79, and I promise you, whatever, and I'm not sticking up for the Tories, I'm not sticking up for reform, but they will bankrupt this country, and we will spend 10 years trying to get it back. We have got to a point, it seems to me, where we've just become apologists for everything. And there's a fly. And, oh, nice. There you are, live telly. And it's all right, Ryan, don't worry. I'm manly enough to kill it. Dead. Do you know that's my daughter's first word, by the way, which is slightly embarrassing?
You know that fly's been living in the studio for about a month. It drives Mike Graham insane every morning. It won't die. It just won't die. It's an invincible
fly. Do you
fly.
mean this fly has been attacking the legend that is Mike Graham?
Yes.
I've got a wasp zapper at home. Do you know what they are?
Yes. The electric one.
Yeah. Don't brush it past any part of your anatomy that's... Anyway, talking about that, we're gonna Lionesses, did you watch?
I didn't know, but...
I love her.
Don't ask me about football.
Don't ask her about football. I know. But I can ask you about this. It's a light-hearted end, but we're very, very serious. Are you all right with a light-hearted end?
Fine.
We want you to come every week. A French resort town has introduced fines for people found to be walking around topless or in their swimsuits anywhere other than on the beach. Authorities in Les Sables d'Olonne, I've no idea if that's right, it's on France's Atlantic coast, horrible, have announced fines of up to 150 euros for those walking around the town half naked, railing against topless men and women. The town's mayor criticised indecent behaviour. So they're going to fine and stand up to people walking around the town without a top on, but they're quite happy to let the migrants come and go, not a problem. It's extraordinary.
Well, I don't agree with them on letting the migrants do whatever they want, but I do agree with them fining people for having their tops off. If it was all people with six-packs, I wouldn't complain so much.
Oh, you like a six-pack?
Let's be honest, it's all fat blokes in Speedos. I don't want to see it.
Why are you looking at Ryan when you said that, woman? It is. Why do... Ryan, do you wear...
Fat blokes in Speedos covered in tattoos.
Do men still wear Speedos? Ryan, do you wear Speedos? Have you ever worn Speedos, Ryan? Only at school. Joe, do you wear Speedos, don't you? Jodie does, yeah. Does Cameron wear Speedos? No, can't fit. No, too small. Far too small, yeah. So you don't like men in Speedos?
No.
I do wear Speedos, yeah.
Oh, no.
Marvel ones. I'm checking. They're dreadful. Why would anybody wear Speedos? I don't get that at all. Yeah, actually, let's do this in honour of Chloe Dobbs' first of many. What do you wear swimming... What is it, Speedos? If you are listening, have you ever worn Speedos? Do you wear Speedos? Why on earth would you wear Speedos?
Please don't send pictures in, we don't want to see
No, presumably it's a bit like me. I mean, the problem is I couldn't wear Speedos because there's not enough material. I'm joking. I've only got one testicle. That's not funny. Right, so listen, you don't... But look at what she did there. So you think you don't like the idea of men walking around, and you don't like that idea at all?
No, and also, I mean, I wouldn't turn up to the shops or the supermarket in my pyjamas. You similarly shouldn't go and sit at a nice restaurant to eat a meal in your bikini or your swimming trunks or Speedos or whatever. It's just not appropriate.
You're quite old-fashioned. No, you're quite old-fashioned, aren't you?
A little bit.
Would you, just to finish, and we're going to have you on every single Monday, Trump, do you think that we will ever end up in the United Kingdom with a politician who's so straight, so organised, okay, and just tells it like it is? Do you think we'll ever be that lucky? Do you think Farage is that man?
I think that in 2029 we will get a strong leader, but we do not have the executive orders like Trump has. There will be a lot more pushback from the so-called blob when reform get in. I know they've got good lawyers lined up to try and fight them off. So don't expect as many things to be done in the first week as with Trump. But I think someone with a bit of tenacity, that tenacity is going to go a long way.
See, this is really interesting to me when you say that, because I've said that to Nigel, I've said that to Richard. You can say, I don't understand, you're more intelligent than me. I couldn't give a fat rat's backside. There are 10,000 civil servants. I am elected the Prime Minister of this country. Either you do what I say, I'm going to sack all 10,000 of you. What's wrong with that? I literally am going to sack all 10,000 of you.
It should be that simple.
It's
Sadly,
ridiculous.
it's not that simple. And then you have the markets all crying out for, you know, as we saw with Liz. I'm not saying that Liz Truss did a brilliant job of executing, but there were definitely issues with the blob and you have all these reports. It's very difficult to, we've had Trump, for example, say you need to slash taxes, and it's all, you can't in this country. You can't just say I'm going to slash taxes. I think that's going to increase revenue. You have to show, oh, the books are balanced with the amount of GDP we have now. We could actually balance the books. They don't understand the Laffer curve.
No, I get that, but doesn't it strike you that probably one of the most powerful men in the world, who's won a historic second term, love him or loathe him, is not a politician. He's a businessman who knows the difference between how to make a deal and not make a deal, and that cuts through. I just think there's so much BS.
We need businessmen running the country. Look at our cabinet. We do not have a
about 11 years
we
old.
don't have a single entrepreneur in that cabinet, except for James Timpson, who isn't an MP. Doing the prisons.
Oh, that's the shoe man, isn't it? And
yes,
the key cutting place. Ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Chloe Dobbs has made her debut on Drive Time, and we'll be back every Monday. Thank you.
No worries.
Did you have fun?
I did, indeed.
6:25.
We saw that last year at Southport, this has been the response of both the Home Office and two-tier Keir Starmer to weaponise free speech. All of the sacrifices that many generations, centuries actually, that England and Britain led the way in terms of being able to have free conscience and free speech, speak freely in our society, is now under attack enormously.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
6:28, we're live across the UK. Ahead of, in a minute, John Lucas, the night news editor from The Sun, known as Sarge. He's got a whole female gathering. Before that, tomorrow's Sun newspaper. I asked you just off the cuff about, because there's this story in the newspaper about this French town has said you cannot be walking. I don't know why I'm doing this. I said only once. You cannot be walking through the town with your swimming costume on, showing off your boobies or your butty or your whatever else it is. What is wrong with me? Anyway, Anna, this is the best text. I'm a swim coach in my spare time. Jodie, don't look at me when I read this out. A little while back, I was teaching an elderly gentleman to dive. I was in the pool looking up at the diving block to instruct. The man was standing astride the block looking down at me. Suddenly, his Speedos lost their elasticity. It was like two tennis balls in a knee-length sock. My eyes started to bleed. The only bloody people who should wear Speedos are professional swimmers. Yes. Stu says, my wife spotted you at the beach yesterday, said you had skinny legs and they'd look better hanging out of a nest. Thank you. Heather, I used to wear Speedo swimsuits when I was in my 20s. Really? Is there a Speedo swimsuit? That's like a wetsuit, isn't it? John Walford, I heard you wear budgie smugglers on holiday. No, I don't wear budgie. I've only got one testicle, OK? Is that you know, it's fine. Why are you laughing so? Cancel that. Honestly, that's a bit harsh. Jezza, I wear Speedos, but I'm 5'6", 10.5 stone and ripped up. Oh, they are. 6:30, he's a legend. He is the night news editor of The Sun. He is John Lucas, the Sarge. You're feeling awful now, aren't you? Because I said I've got one testicle.
Evening. Well, it's just the image of other guys in Speedos.
I'm going to let him absolutely wobble around. Buddy, great to have you on. That football was... I loved it last night. Tomorrow's newspaper, it's all about this. They drink it's all over. Apparently, it was a bit like the Ashes party. They went for it big time, didn't they?
Yeah, amazing. Obviously, massive source of national pride. Well, it would be on any occasion like this, because we don't win that many. But
well, we don't win anything.
Well, not normally, but these ladies have won it. You know, they defended the title, so they've won it.
And Serena Wiegman, because she was the coach of the Netherlands, she's won it 3 times on the bounce.
She's won it 3 times, yeah. So last night they all got back to the this lovely hotel in near Zurich where they played the final. And yeah, they were up till 4 a.m. There's some great pictures that they've all put on their Instagram, dancing and doing lots of karaoke. They were greeted by their lucky mascot Reggie.
Who's Reggie?
Reggie is a Cavapoo puppy.
A what?
Owned by the team's barista.
A Cavapoo?
A Cavapoo, yeah. So it's
what's a Cavapoo?
You know, it's not England 1966. This is the modern.
Hold on a second. Jodie's telling me a Cavapoo is a cross between what? Cameron and what? A Cavachon and a poodle. What's a Cavachon? It's a bloody dog, is it? A Cavapoo's a dog,
it's
yeah?
It's a dog, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought you said have a poo. I was a bit confused. I mean, I'm getting to a certain age.
No, that would have
amazing.
Been the wrong way.
I saw a great article today. I don't know what newspaper it is. Hannah Hampton, and I said this to Ian Danter from Sport. I didn't know this. She'd had a vision problem when she was 3 and was told she might never achieve her dream to be the #1 goalie. And I'm going to say something a bit contentious, not to be critical, but Serena Wiegman took quite a bit of heat before the tournament started. Mary Earps retired. Apparently she wasn't going to be #1 and she made that decision. Several others as well. She's been vindicated, Wiegman, hasn't she?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Brilliant.
And, you know, she's obviously been one of the stars of the tournament. She's on her front page today. And, yeah, it's great. They're back in the country now, so they've landed at Southend.
Yep.
They're on a
I'd
coach.
have flown them into a slightly more impressive airport, wouldn't you, than Southend?
There is that, and they're also, as we speak, I believe they are at Downing Street, where they'll be meeting Angela Rayner.
Where's Keir?
Well, Keir is up in Scotland, isn't he?
See, that's
Trump.
what he gets wrong, isn't it? He should be on he should be on a plane back to meet them, the idiot. Angela's there, is she?
Angela will be there, so I don't know what sort of reward that is.
Oh, he won't. Ryan's right. He won't be coming in a plane. Think of the environment.
Yeah.
He'll be walking, won't he? Boring git. Trump's magged. Honestly, mate, I have been transfixed. I mean, he schooled Sir Keir Starmer, didn't he?
Yeah. What a weird. Well, every press conference with Trump, when he does these sit-downs, it's like, you know, whatever you think of him, nobody else does it like this. He'll sit down and he'll take an hour worth of questions. And he did this today up in Scotland, where Starmer came to see him.
So, to me, I mean, I know he made the Putin's got 12 days to agree a ceasefire, but if you are British and you are watching that looked like the local sales manager taking a visit from the company chief executive. Isn't that stuff? And he was slagging off Khan, wasn't he? Done a nasty man, the mayor, and he's going, he's my friend. He doesn't even acknowledge him, he just talks over him. We look like a bloody puppet man.
Yeah, it's a real sort of contradiction of characters there. You've got Starmer, you know, a lot of people point out is quite robotic. Trump obviously just shoots from the hip, and he is quite cringeworthy. He made this comment about Sadiq Khan, as you say, and Starmer's piped in, boy, he's my friend.
He's my friend.
He's also made... well,
he basically
made a few comments about migration.
He said you need to be strong in immigration, you're crap on that. He said wind farms are crap, you need to drill, baby, drill, because you've got liquid gold. Sadiq Khan's an absolute whatever, and the way you've treated your farmers is a disgrace. Anyway, you crack on. And by the way, Nigel Farage is my friend about 10 times.
Yeah, I mean, the farmers thing was very embarrassing as well for Starmer. And but the great thing is this is going to carry on, because I think he actually is going on Air Force One.
Who is?
Starmer's on there to go to more north in Scotland. I'm not sure exactly where. Where they're going to have more talks.
Oh, I thought that was it. I thought he was going.
Yeah, no, they'll do a bit more, because I think they want to talk a bit more about Gaza, about Russia, about some of the more serious stuff. And Trump's
fabulous.
You know, it was very wide-ranging, very interesting stuff. We're breaking it down in the paper tomorrow in the way that we do for our readers. It's going to sort of set out, you know, the main
He's given
points.
Vladimir Putin 12 days to agree a ceasefire. Very disappointed him. You'll talk in Epstein, Migrants, Gaza and Sadiq Khan. Another great story tomorrow, slightly like 43rd time lucky. This will give you confidence, Ryan.
Yeah, so this is a chap. He's a tattooist by trade. His name's Luke Winthrop. He's from Chelmsford in Essex. And he met the love of his life. He was so sure that he was in love with, this is Sarah. So sure that he was in love with her, he proposed after just 6 months on a sort of pony trekking.
Take note, Cameron. 6 months.
But she said no.
Did she?
And she continued to say no for another 41 times. So poor Luke had to get up to, he had to ask on the 43rd occasion.
But hold on a second. Before, he tried hiring a castle in Prague, horseback riding on a Jamaican beach, several candlelit dinners, and she turned him down flat. What did she finally say? Yes.
So no, every time. So she turned him down. Yeah, she said yes. So he took her to the Greenwich, the Meridian, and got on the meantime strip. I'm sure we've been there. And he said,
"Oh yes, I've spent many an afternoon on the Greenwich Meridian strip."
It's rather.
And he asked her to marry him.
It's rather
there.
cheesy. So if you need a line, he said, "This is the centre of the world, and you are the centre of my world, and I want you to marry me." And she eventually said, "All right then."
My mate once said to a girl, "This is how old I am, 60. Are you going home?" She said, "I don't know." He said, "There's 10p. Go and ring your mum and say you'll be home in the morning." Honestly, Jodie, if Cameron asked you 43 times, you'd just say yes the first time, wouldn't you? Yes, see, Cameron, she say yes.
Oh, he's not asked yet.
No, he hasn't, no. Well, let's not... I don't think you and I should be giving relationship advice to you. Now, this is brilliant. I do this story for Ryan. Naked Extraction. Tell me more. This is brilliant.
Yeah, well, I know
you've been talking... This is the sun at its best.
You've been talking about nudity in France, but... this happened at the weekend, so this is at Budleigh Salterton Beach in East Devon.
Have you been to Budleigh Salterton Beach? I'm now working out why the times I've been at Budleigh Salterton Beach I've been looked at slightly strangely.
Yeah, because you're the only one wearing clothes.
Speedos, no.
So, yeah, so it's an area where it's got some dodgy cliff top, and It's come down onto the beach. Terrible. I mean, it could have, it could have wiped somebody out. Fortunately, it didn't. However,
people got cut off.
People got cut off in the worst state possible on the nudist part of the beach.
Brilliant.
Completely cut off. There's a group of about 8 people, and they had to be rescued by, luckily, a boat. A couple of women came along to rescue these guys, and they were completely stark naked.
Can I make a point about... the thing about nudist beach, and do what you want, dangle wherever you want, but I've never seen... I've only been on a nudist beach, walked through it by mistake once. Every time you see anything about nudists, they're just not... That's why I've only got one ball, yeah. They're not attractive, are they, people that are nudists? I mean, you never see a body that you want to have. They're all sort of past it and fat and wobbly like me a bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't want to offend any nudists out there, but...
I would.
Yeah, you don't see... They're not the sexiest people.
It's not like you go on a nudist beach, you go, oh, my God, look at that. You go, Jesus. And also, if you're a man and you go in the cold water, it's no good. Tomorrow's paper, they drink it's all over. Trump's Magda UK, 43rd time lucky. A bloke who asked his wife 43 times, finally cracked it by taking it to the Greenwich Meridian line and saying, this is the middle of the earth and you're the middle of mine. What is she saying yes for? You're back tomorrow. You're a legend. Yeah. We love you so much indeed, John. What do you say about John Lucas, the Sarge? He's back tomorrow, 22 minutes to 7 o'clock.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yeah, don't miss it. MG here from 6 and here from 7. Kev O'Sullivan's got the most extraordinary Talk exclusive. He's joined me. This, for all the people who don't think this is going on, this is absolutely up the street of what we talk about every day. Tell us more, pal.
Well, what struck me was, I absolutely, I'm sure you do too, sympathise with all these people all over the country who mounted protests outside their local asylum seeker hotel. And what are they worried about? They're worried about having hundreds of young men plonked upon them.
Unvetted young men.
Undocumented. We don't know anything about them. And when rumours or facts get out that they're charged with sex offences or convicted of sex offences, then communities quite rightly get extremely worked up and angry. I don't blame them. But it's occurred to me, you know, we go, oh, Asylum Seeker Hotel, it's costing us $7 billion a year, it's a disaster. But we're not allowed to know what happens in these places.
Absolutely.
Because as soon as they become Asylum Seeker hotels, they throw up, they blacken out all the windows, they throw up steel barriers, and they put security blockades with the security officers all around them. We're not allowed in. You try and get in, it's like trying to get into Fort Knox. We have a guest tonight, me and Isabel Oakeshott, who worked for 3 months at a hotel called the Copthorne Hotel. It's a very nice hotel set in manicured gardens. It's got koi carp ponds. It's got a local golf course.
Whereabouts in Sussex?
It's fairly near. It's in the countryside near Gatwick Airport. But I've been there years ago, and it was a nice 4-star hotel. Now, of course, all the bars are closed, and it's an asylum since around about October 23. It's been an asylum seeker accommodation centre, which of course has ripped the heart out of what was once a nice
part of the community. It's
a 16th century hotel, 4-poster beds and all that.
Great.
Well, for the past 2 years, what's been going on here is just extraordinary. If you see our friend's film, we'll be showing that later. First of all, he found out, I don't want to spoil it too much, but he found out that before he turned up, 10 babies had been born on the premises. They have their landlines in their 4-poster ensuite bedrooms are completely open, and they can phone their home countries. No charges. They get 3 meals a day, of course. In the afternoon, delivered to their rooms is their snacks, big bags of snacks, and on it goes. And he said that these hotels, these asylum seeker hotels, or the one that he was at, is just this sort. He said it's a massive, hectic activity, 24 hours a day. He said the police are there every single day. Ambulances turn up. The NHS comes twice a day to see to people. There are many protests. We have footage of a poor guy from Sudan just standing out in the rain. He's on hunger strike. He wants to go home. Because the promised land didn't turn out to be quite what he expected.
See, sorry to jump in, but I want them all to feel like that man from Sudan so they don't come here. If you didn't give them a bag of snacks and a 4-star hotel and a koi carp lake, they probably wouldn't, would they?
Exactly right. We've got footage of Rizla papers and grass grinders, so they're smoking weed there. And
I like the way you did that. You know what you're talking about. I thought it was a pepper pot.
That's what you say. Yeah. Anyway. Also, one of the conference rooms is now converted into a full-time temporary mosque, where both the staff and the residents pray every day. And while the residents, our migrant friends, are put up in these luxurious rooms, 4 posters, all that. The staff live in these almost prison cells, which are like little boxes with barely a window.
Right, don't give away too much and don't think me rude, but we have to get Leanne. But I have to tell you, peeps, this is an extraordinary bit of work. Kev and Isabel from 7. It's a talk exclusive, but this, for all the people that go, oh, really? Have a watch. Luxury. I mean, the PlayStation's eye-watering
This is what we're paying for.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary. It is extraordinary.
Do not miss it. 7 o'clock, mate. Thank you so much indeed. Kev O'Sullivan here with Isabel Oakeshott. Am I going to an ad break now, Ryan? All right, I've just got to go to Woking. Kev, walk, don't worry about it. Lisa's in Woking. You're on. Hello?
Hi, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm very well, my darling. What do you want to say?
Well, basically, I'm a 55-year-old female with various health conditions, and we can house asylum seekers, but my local council won't help me. I had a successful business, I had my own home, and I lost it all due to COVID. But although I've lived in the area for 51 years, paid council tax to said council, business rates to said council, they can't help me because I can't prove I've lived in the area long enough.
So just because I want, it's not about me, and I don't. If people have a different opinion, I welcome that. That's fine. 55, never asked for anything, had a business,
Never in my life.
sadly lost it through COVID, cannot get even a hello from the local council, but people can come into the community, stay in migrant hotels and be treated better than you are treated. So you might well be labelled by certain people in this government or in the media as far right. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I would say so.
What?
I would probably, well, I mean, I've given up with this country, basically. I don't know what we do in this country anymore, because we're not a priority anymore. As I said to somebody last week, I've made the mistake of doing everything right. I left school, I got a career, I bought my home, I've worked every day, never had a benefit in my life, never asked for any help. I've always worked or taken a second job to pay for anything I wanted. And I've been kicked to the curb, basically, and put in my place.
And I thought Chloe Dobbs made an incredibly good point earlier on about 45 minutes ago when she said that for all the people that are saying that people who are moaning about this migrant system are racist, the point is this, is if you carry on being unfair and imbalanced and two-tier in your approach, you will create more division, and that social cohesion that we talk about will become harder and harder to maintain. Listen, yours is the story that I talk about every single day. I think it's utterly disgusting. You're not saying I don't want to help people. What you're saying is, hold on a second, I've done everything right all my bleeding life, but the first time I need a bit of help, I'm being treated like nothing. I'm being treated appalling. I completely and utterly get it. We really appreciate it. Got to keep the fight going, Lisa, though, in Woking. Thank you very much indeed for your call. Footage emerging live in central London. The Lionesses, they're off to Downing Street. They're so fortunate they've got our Ange in a sausage roll. It's going to be great. Do you think they'll have those little prawns? I don't know, little scampy bits. But Angela Rayner's welcoming Lionesses to 10 Downing Street, while Keir is obviously walking back from Scotland, having been dressed down by Donald Trump, because the carbon footprint of taking a plane would be an absolute nightmare. 12 minutes to 7, Talk Drive.
This guy who calls himself Stephen Colbert, he hosts a late-night show on CBS. He's just been axed.
I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings.
Would an untalented man be able to compose the following satirical witticism? Yourself.
That wasn't very funny, was it, Chloe?
No, it wasn't funny at all.
That's the problem, isn't it?
And you know what? You see that with a lot of comedians these days who used to be really funny, and now they just use their platform to say horrible things about politicians that they don't like.
UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
8 minutes to 7 o'clock. We're live across the UK. As I see on the screen, the Lionesses making their way, some limping, or Lucy Bronte's, up the road to 10 Downing Street. They have a reception with our Ange in just a minute. Here's a legend. I can't tell you how lucky we are to have this lady. That's what it says here. Former Lioness, legendary broadcaster, top, lovely person, Leanne Sanderson. Hello.
Hi, Jeremy. I was about to say, you always see me outside TalkSport and you're always so nice to me. I hope you weren't reading off a piece of paper there when you said I'm a legend.
Mate, you know what I think of you. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. Do you know what? I've got a bone to pick with you because 3 years ago you asked me to come on your show. And do you remember the promise that you made me? You told me you'd come to a women's football match with me.
I will, but listen, let's get this absolutely right. Because we follow each other on social media. You're either in America or hanging out with your missus somewhere. You've got all these people, helicopters here, there. I'm just the forgotten man of yesteryear. Don't start giving me a load of pull. It would be my honour to take you out. I mean, what am I supposed to do? We'll go to a West Ham match, all right?
I'm all right, thanks.
See what I mean? Well, I don't want to... I mean, honestly, your team are so... I mean, we're both as bad as each other, mate. Honestly.
I know.
I'll tell you, I went to Oasis on Friday. I didn't know you were there.
Yeah, it was amazing, wasn't it? I went on Saturday. Oh, it was brilliant.
Mate, how good was that? All the Manx out. It was fantastic.
I know. I also want to go again, but you know what? Because I'm Man United, it hurt my soul to see all the blue. And thankfully, I must have chosen to go to the bathroom at the right time because it was when they did the Poznan, and my mate went to me, you chose to go at the right time. I didn't know they were going to do that. There's no way
it's
I'd have been doing that.
Absolutely right.
Now, no way.
I've got to be honest, and you know me, I really got into this tournament. It wasn't so much the last one. Unbelievable. And I know they talk about heroes. I was talking about an article I saw this morning about Hannah Hampton had a vision problem when she was 3, was told she'd never make it. Chloe Kelly, beautiful press conference when she went to all the people that have written me off. They're all stood outside number 10. Some achievement by the Lionesses, isn't it? Fantastic.
Unbelievable. I mean, I'm still in my England shirt. I was at Box Park Wembley yesterday, and now 3 games in a row got into extra time. Last 2 going to penalties. Like, what is even going on? Like, they put us through everything. I was crying last night. I had a headache. Everything. It's just amazing, like, what these players have done. And do you know what, Jeremy? One thing I'm really mindful of is the fact that every single time they do well or win a tournament, everyone says, they need to do this, they need to do that. But they never say that when the men are playing in a tournament. They don't say, what more can they do? They've added PE lessons into schools. But that's not their responsibility, Jeremy, is it? Let's be honest. They've won a football match. They've won the European Championship back-to-back. Serena Wiegman, that's her 3rd tournament in a row.
How impressive, by the way. Can we just have a couple of minutes? I mean, I watched... I mean, I don't think the woman from Spain looked very happy. I think, there it is. That's Box Park last night.
Yeah.
God, look at there's Leanne there in the middle with the hat on. I got to say, Serena Wiegman, where does she go from here, mate? An extraordinary career.
Yeah, unbelievable, really. I mean, every single tournament she's gone to, she's got to the final of the last 5. You know, she's won the last 3 European Championships. Yep. And I think, I always say, I think she's laid down the foundation. So this team has almost had that resilience that you just can never write them off. They put us through it as fans, and they just have that hunger. They'll, Lucy Bronze has played on a fractured tibia. Hannah Hampton had blood coming out of her nose.
She played I read this morning. She played the entire tournament, not just this match, with a fractured leg. It was extraordinary.
Yeah, unbelievable. It is. And they're just real, heroes. And, tomorrow I'll be at the parade, Trafalgar Square. I can't wait. It's just brilliant, really. I can't speak highly enough of these players.
What's it like? This is an interesting question, even by my pathetic standards of broadcasting. You are yesteryear. I always think about professional footballers, right? I think to myself, when you look at them now on 300 grand a week, or you look at them from your point of view, winning 2 of these, of course you're proud and you're crying, they're your mates and everything, but there must be a part of you that goes, oh, I wish it had been 5 years later or 10 years. There must be a part of that. Or do you credit your era with getting it off the ground and moving it forward? That's what I wanted to ask you, pal.
Mixture of both, really. Honestly, there's no animosity. I do believe, though, that we've just seen our first £1 million player going from Liverpool to Arsenal, Olivia Smith. I was like, if I was still playing, I'd fancy myself to be at least 5 mil. So that's when I think to myself...
Were you really that good, Sanderson? Were you really that good, though, to be honest?
Listen, Jeremy, numbers don't lie. 100 goals for Arsenal in 2 seasons. Come on now. Come on. So, I know you're aging me. You're like, yesteryear. But
Are you sure? I was 60 last week. Do you think I look it?
I'm not going to answer that question.
You're such... Oh, mate, you're doing me completely.
I'm going to stitch myself up, but... What I will say is I'm proud of this team, honestly, because I still work in football, so I have the best of both worlds. But for me, there's no animosity. I think for maybe people that were about 15 years before me, they might feel that way. But all I can feel right now is an amount of pride. You know, Chloe Kelly's a good friend of mine, Alessia Russo. I know all the players. So I don't have that feeling of like, you know, that I wish it was me.
Disconnected. You're still connected to it, aren't you, through broadcasting and football? Chloe Kelly, obviously the headlines. Hannah Hampton, obviously the headlines. But all of them, just... And the young girl that came on and scored a sub, she always get her name wrong. But more than anything, I was going to... Another point I was going to make to you, I know, and I'm not being contentious when I say this, a couple of stories before the tournament, couple of people, 3 people... retired, one, Mary Earps, obviously, a lot of publicity, a couple of others as well. No disrespect to any of them, but Serena Wiegman proven right again in her choices, it sounds like, right?
Yeah, it's what she does, really. I mean, you look at the last World Cup in New Zealand or Australia, Beth Mead wasn't there due to injury and Leah Williamson wasn't there. So I think what Serena has done a fantastic job of is creating a culture where, you know, they're role players. Yes, they're superstars. Yes, they've won, but I think they all know their roles and responsibilities. There's no egos. And sometimes I think, you know, Dutch culture is very blunt and very honest, and I quite like that.
Yeah.
And I think for some players, you might not like what the manager has to say, but you have to respect it. So I know that a lot of them are coming out in support. Fran Kirby was different for me because she removed herself based upon not being selected. And I get that. She didn't want to be on standby. I understand that. Fran's been there, done that. But I do think there was an element of like, you know, Mary didn't want to be the second choice.
Yeah.
And I do think there's elements for Mary that might regret this because they've won. You know, and you can't be... If I was a player that I'd removed myself from the team when they just won, I would feel a little bit of animosity and a little bit, you know, the feeling would be there. So because I'm so far removed, I don't feel that way. I've no doubt they're happy for the players, but...
Yeah, I know. You're spot on. And by the way, I'm going to pay the biggest compliment, not that you care. You are some broadcaster. Forget the 100 goals. I think you're fantastic, mate, and I wish you luck. West Ham Man United on me, yes or no?
Let's do it. At Old Trafford, though.
No! At London Stadium, then we don't have to travel so far, OK? On me. Deal?
All right, then. Sounds good to me.
Thank you so much for taking time. Leanne Sanderson, former Lioness, of course. 100 goals in 2 seasons for Arsenal. She'd be £5 million. That's what she says. She's probably right. The Lioness is currently in 10 Downing Street having a banquet with Orange on the back of that fantastic thing. The coach trip, the parade through St Trafalgar Square tomorrow. More details of that in the morning on Talk. Some really sad breaking news very quickly. 2 men of... This is... See, this